back, everyone. Welcome back to another weekend edition here of the Sparkling Tuna Cup. The Sparkling Tuna Cup, the STC. We're here, we are back, we are live, we are jumping into our fresh series of the broadcast. And again, I do apologize for going live a little bit late here, but we were waiting for our first round of matches to become available. We'll get into it. I'm of course just live VIP with you and joined by these amazing players and by the people in the chat as well. Welcome one and all again to our weekly open tournament. So this is the Sparkling Tuna Cup. Every single week we do have the Tuna Cup on a regular basis. This is the longest running open cup in StarCraft 2, longer running than the KSL, the Water TV Monday, or the Pegasus Cup, or any other open tournaments. So again, longest running event out there. We're here, we are good to go. Meanwhile, when it comes to the event itself, exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys would have a look at the back yourselves. Let's catch up on the brackets. Now, again, when it comes to our matches here, originally we were actually going to be covering EBA. EBA versus Camu. That was going to be our first series of the broadcast, but EBA did forfeit. That's why we were so late to go live, is that we were waiting for EBA versus Camu to begin. All the other matches were commencing as results, and then of course it was announced, or it was we were updated that EBA was not going to be available and he was going to be forfeiting. So that did leave us out in the open looking for a series, right? We were looking for a series to jump into, and we couldn't quite find one until now. We have a series, we have a matchup. From the very top here, let's get into it. We have SHIN. He was waiting for the winner of the opposing, or the round of 32 series. Signier takes down Chupka 2-0. It's going to be SHIN versus Signier in the round of 16. Scrolling down, we have Homeowner is up against Percival in a TVP, I believe. Scrolling down, we have Nightmare is waiting for the winner of Alfir and Boreal. We have Nick Grant waiting for the winner of Star Knight and Ilya. We have Classic waiting for the winner of Webmax and Nurim. Meanwhile, we have Camu, who got the walkover win over EBA, and we have Percival waiting for the winner of Scorpion and Maxmore. And likewise, at the very end, we have Arrowfire versus Roxas, currently mid-series. So again, all these matches are currently underway. A couple of series have concluded, one really, and that's the series we're going to be jumping into. SHIN versus Signier will be our next and first matchup of the broadcast. Again, do apologize for taking a little bit longer to actually get into our starting match, but we are here, we have arrived, and we can begin the night of StarCraft. Let's go. Let us go. Again, this is our second broadcast of the day. We were live earlier this morning with the KSL, the Korean StarCraft League. We're live this morning, and now we of course are going to be getting into our own weekly open cup. Also, I should mention that typically the Sparkling Tuna Cup is over the weekend. Usually it's on Sundays, but not this week. The reasoning for that, and same with next week and the week after that, is because of the RSL. The RSL is over the weekend, and we are covering the RSL, so to avoid clashing with our rival StarCraft League, that is why we are switching our Tuna Cup to Tuesday instead of Sunday. So that's the rationale for that. That's why that does occur from time to time. We always do this whenever there's like an RSL or a GSL finals or like a home story cup, for example. Usually if there's like a big premier event going on, then we of course do accommodate and we do adjust our own schedule to be able to allow to cover both, of course, at the same time, or both throughout the week. Here we go. That is typically the case, as we are now getting ready here for our first matchup against SHIN versus Signier. Vetoes are underway. Just catching up in the finals. Catching up in the chat. Before I get ahead of myself, though, a big shout out to Solensvard. Solensvard. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing with Twitch Prime for 15 months. Thank you so much, Solensvard, for all the support. Likewise, a big shout out to Werehug as well. Werehug, for also subscribing for 22 months as well. Almost 2 years of support. Thank you so much, Werehug. Thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it. Hope you've been enjoying all the StarCraft, all the content, all the CranKy Duckling action. Thank you. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate it. As again, we are waiting for our match to be ready for us. See in chats, is this where Percival beats Classic in the finals? Well, if that were to happen, they'd have to be on opposing side of the brackets. As you can see here, hold on, we have top players like Classic, like Percival. They're on the same half of the bracket, so if they play against each other, it'll be in the semis. can't play in the finals. just how a bracket pans out. Again, when it comes to this event, the top 2 seeds are SHIN and Classic. So SHIN on the top side, Classic on the bottom side. Those are the top 2 seeds. I will say though, there are top players such as Nightmare, Honmono, Nicaract, Percival, Arrowfire, that can of course threaten the hierarchy of this event and can stop them from meeting against each other. We'll see if they can be stopped. Again, SHIN and Classic, they're the top 2 seeds. That's why on the opposite half of the bracket, but there are definitely players here that can threaten them and that can bring them down, for sure. For sure. But here we go, we're jumping into our first series of broadcasts. We're jumping into the round of 16, and spawning in the top right hand corner of washouts, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the red Zerg. The red Zerg representing onside, it is SHIN. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have representing, I believe, Platoon, it is Signier. I'll fix up the player names. I'll fix them up. And the color eventually as well. So just checking spelling. But here we go. We're jumping into our into our TVZ. And if you're in the chats, you know what time it is. It is a Gamba time. Predictions are open. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chats. Let's delve into our initial TVZ. First things first, we move out with not just one, with two. Two SCVs are sent across the map. We're going for a proxy 2 racks. So Signier, my apologies. I said 2 racks. We're going for a proxy 3 racks. The third SCV is also sent across the map. So we're going to be doubling down into the beginning of an all-in. SHIN on the flip side is going for a hatch first opener, hatch gas pool, standard opener out of SHIN. The overlord here, the second overlord, should be staying back at home and scouting for proxies. You can see here we'll barely check the edge here of that ramp, but I believe should not actually scout the proxy itself until it is revealed by the SCVs. The first overlord likewise is also going to be moving out to check the natural location. Because of this early game setup here, I believe that SHIN should be able to get eyes on this proxy, on this all-in, on the aggression as it comes up the ramp. As the overlord is going to be here, it's going to be ready. At the same time, it's going to be a hatch pool opener going for a later gas geyser. This will allow for an earlier queen, earlier lings, a stronger defense here by SHIN. This kind of build has been a lot more common just in case there are proxies, because proxies hit that much harder and that much faster. Likewise with early Reaper aggression as well. So it is much more standard to see these earlier pools. So this is going to work out well here for SHIN. It's going to work out well. Meanwhile, the SCVs are backing out. The Marines are on the way as well. We're about to reveal our SCVs and throw down said bunkers. And now we can count 3. SHIN, he does count all 3 SCVs. He's fully aware. Overlord does move over here towards the pillar. Boys are being pulled. And can we deny these bunkers? We're going for the first bunker. And it's going to be brought down. And we're going to try to focus down in the end. 1, 2, 3 drones will fall. Can we get us around the Marines? That's already a lot of economic damage, though. Oh, no! It's a lot of economic damage. It does around 2 Marines already. 1, 2 Marines go down. 3 Marines. And can we get all 4? Can we get all 5 before the bunkers are done? The answer is yes. Oh, my God. Yeah, with the bunkers, one of them does complete, but Lings will clean this up. Lings that will shut this down completely. It was some economic damage in the end. 7 drones did go down, but SHIN, he will hold, he will clean this up, and SHIN will defend. And now SHIN is up in expansion. Spine crawler is now done. The queen is now popping out. We're now droning, we're now saturating. SHIN is getting further ahead. Meanwhile, we do see that Signier is trying to get ready for the next wave, but he's being chased down. They're being forced all the way back to the mineral line. Oof. Yeah, gets forced all the way back. Is going to get surrounded, and we'll lose all the Marines. And Marines are cleaned up, but we do see extra Marines being built here, trying to get this going. But again, with the Queen and with the Spine, SHIN is fine. Like, SHIN is perfectly safe. He's perfectly sound. From here, SHIN just freely drone up. Maybe get another Queen to defend. There we go. We do have a second Queen in production. Lings, they move out for a counterattack. Back at home, there is nothing to defend. No factory. Not yet. Okay, here comes a great migration. There are 4 Marines on the ground. Lings that will arrive first, and they will force the boys to be pulled to repair. So Lings are here, nibbling away at the front door. Signier racing back. There are the boys being pulled to repair said wall. And again, SHIN has just been freely droning. We do have another spine crawl on the way. Now the Marines are revealed, so this does tell SHIN that the Marine army is coming back home. Ooh. Gets one of the Marines. Just the one. The other 3 do survive. Shin, upon seeing nothing in the main base, there is definitely a fear that there's like a proxy factory. As the racks say they land again. They have once again landed. Second spying cooler just to keep Shin safe, getting a 3rd queen. And still just droning. So just droning, saturating. We do see that Signier is taking gases. This does signify a factory, but these gases are very late. They're very delayed here for Signier. Ay, ay, ay. They're delayed, but... Signier's build up into wave 3. True. This, sorry, wave 2. Wave 2 is right. And again, he's going for the proxy factory. We're going to try to keep this all in going here. As we mentioned before, the downside, of course, is that we did make a safety spine crawler. We're now up to 5 queens. Jesus, 5 queens have now arrived. Creep is spreading. Lings are amassing. Link speed is almost done. We have Carapace on the way as well. Double Lever Chamber is a little bit greedy, I will say. It's a little bit greedy here from Shin. But again, he should be fine. Should be fine. Pulls back the weakened queens. Clutch transfuse. Lings collapse in. They get a full surround. There's no medevacs, no support, no lift. And with that, every Marine goes down. Bunkers are denied. We're going for no tank follow-up. We're going for a Hellion. Because sure, because why not? Yeah, the queens are walling in. GG gets called. And Shin takes game number 1. GG. GG will play. Shin will take a lead in the series, and we'll see if Signier can recover here. Game 1 to go for proxy 3 racks. We'll see if he does into 1 base all in. We'll see if he does have something else up his sleeve, of course. Signier, he's more of an amateur player, so again, Shin, of course, is heavily favored in this series, but, you know, Signier going to do the best he can to try to make Shin bleed. Oh boy, let's go. Let us go. So with that, GG will played. With that, Shin, again, he does take a lead in the series. Game number 2, is going to be on Rainfall. Going to be loading into Rainfall here. Rainfall is a much smaller map. Shorter rush distance by ground. All-ins and aggression can actually work quite well here on Rainfall. It doesn't have to be proxied, so I'm not opposed to Signier building up back at home instead. Like, building up back at home, securing their bases, and then pushing like with a 2 base all-in, or maybe a 1 base all-in by pulling the boys as well. I would say Signier has some aggressive options. We'll see what he goes for. We shall see. Getting into our next game. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Rainfall, we have the red Zerg player. We have the South Korean Zerg representing onside. It is Shin. Leading the series 1-0, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the blue Terran player. Representing Platoon, it is Signier. So, let us go. We're settling into game number 2 here. Again, Signier did go for a proxy 3 racks, 1 base all in game 1. It was scouted, it was shut down. Shin, of course, did go for an earlier pull timing, which is very standard in current era of StarCraft. So, hatch pull is the go-to. We should be seeing that again out of Shin. Meanwhile, Signier, what do we go for this time? Let's run our Terran. As we mentioned, there are ways to be aggressive without necessarily going for a proxy, but once again, we have not just 1, we have 2, we have 3. Same build. Same build here. Proxy 3 racks out of Signier. Let's go. Let's go. As we're setting up the proxies, this time in the center of the map. Interesting location here. Not going to be off to the side, not going to be on the low ground. It's going to be in the center. And, this time gas first. So gas, pool, hatch build out of Shin. Shin, he is being aggressive himself. Okay, so aggression versus aggression. I do have to favor Shin. This looks like a Roach Rush. Technically, this could be like a Ling Flood into a Bane Bust, but I'm leaning more towards Roaches here from Shin, which would be ideal against one base play. Oh boy. Shin again is going for a late expansion. And remember that Signier is not aware. It's not aware. Signier does move out with the SCV. Does move out. Does confirm that the hatchery is late. And we can see Shin, he pulls out a gas at 100. Okay, so just Link Speed, not going for a Roach Rush. No Roach Rush, just Link Speed. Which means Shin can he can clean this up in a bit of an easier fashion and also counterattack as well. As Link's already building up, Shin, you can see he's scouting for the proxy on the right hand side. SV does pull the Lings away towards the left. But Shin does check. Yeah, Shin, he does poke in, does check, does confirm. He knows. Oh! Yeah, it does confirm the proxy. One Ling goes down. More Lings are massing. Queen has arrived. And once again, Shin will have to pull the boys here. There we go. Does pull only 6. Okay, 6 boys are being pulled. The Lings are amassing. Marines that move in. Here come Lings. Yeah, Lings, they can collapse on top of the army here. They're going for the Marines. The Queen does focus on the SCV. One SCV does go down. There's still 2 SCVs left. Yeah, a little bit messy here from Shin. He does kill 2 SCVs. Does he get all 3? Oh my god. Jeez, the Queen is crazy. Takes out all 3 SCVs, and with that, not a single bunker will finish. I thought at least the northern bunker would complete, but no, never mind. Shin holds very nicely. So very clean defense here by Shin. With that, he can collapse on the Marines. This time an easier cleanup here. Shin to shut this down. GG, well played. Legend Fabian. Shin, he will claim the series 2-0, advancing on to the quarterfinals. GG. GG, well played. With that, congratulations. Shin, he will claim the series. He'll claim the series. He'll advance on. Meanwhile, shout to Signier. Again, Signier, more of an amateur player coming in just to compete, of course, and fully aware, of course, of the fact that he's going against Shin, but really appreciate some of the builds nonetheless here, being a little bit cheeky, and of course giving credit to Shin towards the end as well. GG, well played. Again, as Shin does claim the series, does advance on. Shout out to Signier, as he is going to be knocked out here in said round of 16. And let's catch up with the bracket. Let's head on over here and switch over to our bracket scene. Vamonos. Here we go. So from the top, we have some updates. So Shin, he does advance on to the quarterfinals. He's waiting for the winner of Honmono and Perceive. He's waiting for a Korean opponent. So we're going to be heading over to the Korean server. Going to be most likely going to be following Shin into the quarterfinals. Scrolling down, we have Nightmare. Nightmare is up against Boreal. Boreal took down Alfear 2-0. So big win there for the Terran player from Guatemala, papi. Ay, ay, ay. So Boreal does take down Alfear. Meanwhile, we do see that Star Knight takes down Ilya 2-0. Star Knight is up against Nicorakt in the round of 16. They're facing off. Likewise, it looks like Webmax versus Nodim is still ongoing. Camo, he got the walkover win, of course. Max Moore takes down Scorpion 2-0, and Arcfire takes down Roxas 2-0 as well. So for the most part, the bracket is progressing, and we're kind of working our way through the round of 16. As I mentioned before, right now we are waiting for the winner of Honmono and Perceive. Winner of that matchup will go up against Shin in the next round. And it looks like we just got an update. There we go. Honmono takes on Perceive 2-0. Now we're going to be going into Shin versus Honmono. That is our next series. That's our next matchup. Okay, so we're going to be going on a short break. Going to be going on a very short break here. When we come back, videos will be done, and we will have that ZVT. See you soon. See you soon after the break. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back here. Whew, a very short break as videos are now done, and we're jumping into the quarterfinals of the Sparkling Tuna Cup number 139. And here we are, we're jumping into our fresh series, spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Sanctuary 3. We have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing onside. It is SHIN. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player, the orange Terran representing Team Hyper 1. It is Mono. So let us go. If you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chats. Coming into this, of course, SHIN, he is still favored to make it through and to even make it to the finals, but Mono is one of those players that can threaten SHIN. He can definitely punch up, he can cause upsets, especially in TVP. Like, we've seen Mono take down Max Packs, we've seen him take down Hero. Mono has taken down the best of the best Protoss players out there. His TVZ is a little bit different, and he does open up with a proxy. Does go for the proxy here across the map right outside of the main base. With this, it looks like a Proxy Reaper. Proxy Reaper, there's no room for an add-on here, so Proxy Reaper initially. We'll see if Mono doubles down and goes for something else behind this as well, whether he goes into a bunker in between the bases. I know he does like to go for that, to go for a bunker to set up for those Reapers, or if he does transition back at home instead. Eyes are on Mono. Oh no! A delayed second Rax. Huh. So usually when you go for a build like this, you send out a second SCV to get your 2 Raxes up and running as quickly as possible. This is going to be a delayed second Rax out of Mono. Still Proxy Reaper, but we are doubling down a little bit further here. Meanwhile, a big shout to Sneaky Snake 3290 in the chat. God, baby God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing for 5 months. 5-month streak. Thank you so much. Hope you appreciate the content. Hope you enjoy the casting and the StarCrafts. Hope you enjoy, as again, we are getting into game number 1 of our series. The Reaper is upon us. Behind this, remember, we did have an earlier pool, earlier Lings. We have the Queen now on the way as well. So SHIN did go for a very safe build. Remember that Mono has a reputation. He has a reputation. Everyone knows that he is hyper aggressive and hyper cheesy. Everyone is aware. And SHIN does go for a safe build as a result. So SHIN does play it safe. Reaper does break in, zoning away some of the drones. Does deny some of the gas mining, but link speed is already on the way. He wants a drone. He wants one. And he... barely should. Barely does not. Oh, doesn't go for the dive. The Queen does pop out, and in the end, SHIN, he will save all of his workers. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, SHIN does save all of his drones. A better start so far for SHIN. Second Reaper has arrived. We have 2 more on the way. Getting to 3 Reapers already. Link speed is halfway done. Link saves back the army. They force it to low ground. So second Queen is now on the way. And we'll see if Mono can catch some transferring workers or transferring Lings. That would be the ideal. Oof. Queen is ready. Gets 1 Zergling so far. Gets 1, 2, 3. 3 Lings do go down. The Queen is getting low. Queen does get low. Link speed is almost complete. 10 more seconds. Yeah, 10 more seconds. You can see we're trying to bait the army further in. Queen does go down. Nice pickoff. Link speed is done, and Mono pulls away. Mono does pull away, lifting up the Raxes. SHIN can chase him down. Slow zones can make things a little bit awkward here, but does still get through. And now Mono is transitioning. CC on the high ground. We're trying to wall off as well. Reapers, they should make it back into the main base. Oh, gets 1. Not bad. Yeah, 1 Reaper gets caught. Decent catch out of SHIN. And now the game will continue. From here, SHIN is up in workers. He does have a natural base already, so SHIN is further ahead. Mono, his own CC is, again, only just now beginning, so very delayed expansion here for Mono. It's going to be a rough road to recovery here. Now, we do not expect Mono to macro. We do have a natural base. He's going to build up to 2 bases, but there's a very high chance that Mono will turn this into a 2-base all-in. Very high chance. So this is not over. If Mono was going to try to expand to get a 3rd TC and build up into the mid game, I would of course say that SHIN is now very far ahead in that kind of position, but because we're expecting more aggression at Mono, yes, he's behind economically, but that may not matter as much. Oh, actually, that's a 3rd TC. Yeah, that's a third CC hidden behind the gas here. So a very greedy build. The Overlord for SHIN is going in and he scouts. No shot. He confirms he sees the third CC. So SHIN now knows that Homeowner is being hyper greedy. And this means that Homeowner, there's going to be a window in time where he's vulnerable. There's going to be a big window here. And SHIN can abuse that window with a Roach Warren. So we'll see if he goes into Roaches or if he just drones. He may just drone and just saturate from here. He may just drone and go into a faster lair and go into Ling Bane. Does pull back in the gas. The ball is now in SHIN's court with how he wants to approach this and what he wants to accomplish here. Meanwhile, it is going to be a fusion core further back in the main. So Homeowner is going for the fusion core into early BC. Interesting. He may go BC into mech from here, but this is becoming very wonky. I mean, a fast BC wouldn't be the worst thing, like Banshee BC against like a Roach-based composition. Unfortunately for Home 1.0, it is going to be a Bailey Nest. It's going to be the nest. I'm going to moving in. Meanwhile, SHIN, he's going into a faster Spire. Oh, okay. So fast layer into Spire Tech, delayed Evo Chambers. This is a bit of a risky build. This is very, very risky. But this is actually going to work quite well against what Homeowner is going for. So typically, SHIN, by cutting corners like this, would be abusable and would be vulnerable to, say, an early stim timing. But remember, there is no stim. There are no add-ons. There is no stim. There's no tech lab on the Raxes. So Homeowner cannot punish. What Homeowner is doing is rushing into the BC, but there's going to be a Spire ready for that to get into Corruptor production. How many queens so far? Only 4. True. Only 4 queens, no spores in position. So this first BC has potential, for sure. Has potential before Corruptors hit the field. There's a 5th queen on the way. No spores. BC is about to teleport and drones are going to go down. Meanwhile, we have muted production, of course, because we're not aware of the BCs. First battlecruiser is moving out. Behind this, we have our Cyclone production, and again, attempt to transition into what should be mech. We have 2 more CCs on the way. Again, CCs are much cheaper here, but at the same time, I don't really see this helping Homeowner too much early on. Yeah, going to battle mech. So we're going into battle mech. BC will soon reveal itself. Oh, it does get scouted. SHIN is aware. Yeah, SHIN is fully aware. Do you see the Roach Warren? Now SHIN is aware of the mech. Ideally does want Roaches. Meters, they go for the counterattack, and they should run into the turret. Okay, turret's in position, no real damage. And what he defends. As again, SHIN is going to be zoned away. He will gain some map control. He will be able to contain Homeowner. Behind this, again, switching into Roach production, into Roach Corruptor, which is going to be ideal. And it's going to be on Homeowner to try to build up into a greater economy. The problem here, because this third base is so late and so delayed, SHIN, he's already up to 82 drones. He's already reaching peak economy. So peak economy is here. Homeowner, he is far behind. He is struggling. The BC move was nice, but it wasn't worth it. The BCs needed more damage. In the end, they killed 0 drones. Yeah, just 1 queen and 0 workers. This is why Homeowner's growth is so delayed here. And SHIN is maxed. Yep, SHIN is maxing out, and it's time to A move, baby. Time to A move across the map. Ay, ay, ay. SHIN rotates. SHIN rotates over. Looking to move in. At the same time, we do see Homono trying to rotate as well, but again, he has a very flimsy army here. It's purely Cyclone, and not that many. Corruptor saves away the BCs. Road Ravager moving in, catching us up with the Cyclones. Gets two. Yeah, one Cyclone goes down. Piles on the turrets, allowing for the mutants to come into support. Yeah, turret's going to be falling. Likewise, BCs, they did teleport away. Oh god. As now we take control of the high grounds. And we take over the high ground, catching on the medevac. A couple of roaches are going down to the Cyclones. Again, it's still a very messy engage here. Nice teleport away here from Homono. Does teleport back. And Homono, he will survive the initial wave, and SHIN is getting ready for wave number 2. Again, we just have to keep making roaches. Just keep making roaches, keep rattling across the map, and eventually break the expansion. After the first wave of aggression, we do see now there are less turrets. Now we have a weaker defensive position here, and it's going to be on Homono to try to rebuild that and try to secure himself, and ideally build up more than just a Cyclone army. I mean, it has a little kiting potential for sure, but what about the economy? As they move in, they do snipe both turrets. BCs, they do try to make their way across the map. So we're going to force a lift. Bailey's going to be rolling in. SHIN moves forward, Bailey's they roll into the mineral line. You cannot lift, the planetary is exposed, and the planetary should go down here, and does. Yeah, planetary falls. At the same time, BCs, they get across the map. 17 SCV kills, ay, ay, ay. So sniping the infestation bit, I guess. Sure, why not? I mean, there's already a hive, so not the most important tech structure. BCs, they teleport away. And SHIN, he's looking to move in again. Here comes wave 3 at this point. 3 or 4? 3, yeah. So third wave is coming in. We do see Homono switching to Mass Widow Mine. Technically, there is a world where if all these mines, if they have some good connections, they can shut down the Ling Rain at least, and then the Cyclones can clean up the roaches. At this point, though, it's still a numbers issue. Oof. Oh, the Might Shots. Decent actions. Yeah, decent actions. Bailey's, they chase down the Cyclones. They send them away. At the same time, roaches, they collapse on the expansion, and the planetary will go down. It cannot repair. Cyclones, though, get busy. Another base falls. Ooh, Cyclones, they get caught out. They get surrounded. Yeah, brutal flank here. So many Cyclones do get picked off. Ay, ay, ay. As now we're going for what little economy is left. Cyclones, they're happy to trade. Lings aiming from behind. They get us around. They lock down the Cyclones. GG gets called, and SHIN takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG will play. SHIN will take lead in the series. Again, it was just a very rough start for Homono. He was playing from behind from the beginning. He went for the proxy Raxes, and in the end, he did not do enough damage. The follow-up as well was very risky. If you recall, I was thinking like, oh, if he goes into a 2-base story, like he can still make this work, but instead he went for a triple expand. He tried to macro out of it instead, which was a very bold move, and in the end we saw that he was punished for it, right? SHIN, he was so fast and so quick to build up into a greater economy, to join up to 82, and the BC follow-up was cute, but wasn't worth it. Didn't kill a single drone, so no economic damage. GG. GG. Here we go. Yeah. So Homeowner, he's just now saying that he's like, yo, the BC is really expensive, but it's not worth it. It's like, yeah, it was not worth it. So Homeowner, even himself being a little bit self-aware of that game. Being self-aware. And here we go, we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of at Attorney's Edge, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing team on side, leading the series 1-0. It is SHIN. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player once again moving out with the SEV. We have the orange Terran for Team Hyper 1. It is Mono. So let us go. So Homeowner reminds me of Parting, but Terran, I feel like that's probably like a misremembering of the kind of player that Parting was. I'd probably hard disagree with that one. Parting was not known for being hyper cheesy. He was known for being aggressive and known for his builds, but more importantly, Parting, he was known for being able to do that, but also having probably some of the best control of micro in the game, and also being able to play macro games as well, right? Like that's kind of what set Parting apart from someone like SOS, for example, who was much more kind of like renowned for being hyper cheesy and hyper aggressive. What made Parting more popular was his ability to do both, right? To play like standard macro games, to mix in hyper aggression, to have like incredible micro and control. I'll say Homeowner only embodies the aggressive portion of that, which was only, again, a small part of what Parting was. But same build with Proxy Reaper, once again 2 racks. So same build here. We'll see if he achieves a little bit more success, but I will say this time it is a hatch first build, so this should be a little bit better for Honmono. Remember, what was the opener last game? Last game, SHIN went for an earlier spawning pool. This time is going for an earlier hatchery. So there's a bigger window of time here where Homeowner can get economic damage done. Not saying they're at the same level, of course, just similar style. Once again, I mean, I tried to explain that what set Parting apart was that he could do both. Is that he could macro and also be hyper aggressive. Was to mix in the two. I would say that Homeowner is only aggressive. Like he's that has nothing to do with their skill. It has more to do with their playstyle. There we go. There we go. So far getting 1, getting 2 drones. Again, a very good start. 2, 3. Yeah, 3 drones going down. A brutal start here for SHIN. As he mentioned, SHIN chose to go hatch first. He chose to go hatch first, so SHIN has a much more difficult defense here. 3, do we get up to 4? Oh, 3 drone kills already. A much better start here for Honmono. 3 drones going down. Can trade against the Lings, and we can just kite. Yeah, we can just kite against the Zerglings. 1, 2, 3 Lings going down. This is too much. This is too much damage. We're getting out of hand here. Every Ling goes down. All the drones go down as well. The punish is real. Punish is real. And this time it's going to be SHIN forced to be aggressive in the follow-up here. Like SHIN will zone this away. But SHIN now down in workers, now down in economy. Does bring a second queen up. That's queens that take a lot of hits. Take a lot of damage here, Jesus. Yeah, it's one of the queens. I mean, there's no transfuse available. And no transfuse. Lings, they try to corner the Reapers, and they will be able to. Oh my god. They do. Oh my god. This should not have happened. This should not have happened. Miscontrol at a Honmono. He should never have been surrounded like this. And Honmono, yeah, you can see him crashing out as well in the chat. That should never have happened. And suddenly, SHIN, he holds. He holds in a better position. Again, the army should never have been surrounded by slow Lings of all things. Oh no. And with that, Homeowner is in a rough position here. Yeah, Homeowner, he's like, GG. The game ends, and SHIN, he will claim the series 2-0. GG, well played. Congratulations, Shin. He will claim the series. Again, Homeowner had a really good start. He had the most ideal start. He killed so many workers, killed so many Lings, and Homeowner got overly aggressive. He got a little bit too excited, got a little bit too invested in what he was accomplishing, and he got cornered. He got cornered by slow Lings. Again, that should never have happened. That's why we saw Homeowner's reaction there. Like, he was in a better position, and then it all fell apart. It all fell apart. GG, well played. With that, congratulations. Shin will claim the series and advance on to the semifinals. GG, well played. What I will say, though, is, again, credit to Homeowner. Like, I mean, I say credit to Homeowner. It was a hatch first build out of Shin, so Shin's build did make it a much more difficult defense than it needed to be. And it all lined up ideal for Homeowner to kill these workers to get damage done. Again, maybe the pressure getting to Homeowner a little bit towards the end, maybe just getting too excited, and with that, GG, well played. Whew. And with that, we're now getting into our next game. We're going to be loading into our next series here. Shin, he's waiting in the semifinals for the winner of Nightmare and Nicaract. Oh boy. As we did have updates here, Nicaract takes down Star Knight 2-0, Nightmare takes down Boreal 2-0, so we have Nightmare versus Nicaract in the quarterfinals. Winner goes up against Shin. Scrolling down, we have some other updates. Nodim takes down Webmax 2-0, so we have Nodim versus Classic in the round of 16, and of course Percival versus Maxmore still ongoing. It looks like the lower half of the bracket is a little bit more delayed. It's a little bit more delayed here. So we're going to be following the upper half of the bracket first, and getting ready for the upper semis as well. Here we go. Looks like the players are ready. Just asking to see if they've already started their series. Oh, fresh series. Okay, it's going to be a fresh series. So up next is going to be Nicaract versus Nightmare. Again, these two players are much closer in skill. Much closer in skill here. So we should be, as opposed to all the other matches we've had here tonight, this one is going to be much harder to call, actually. Much harder. I would say that if we were casting the series maybe a month ago, I would favor Nicaract 100%, but Nightmare has recently returned to the game, has recently been grinding that much more, and this patch has had some very impressive results. Very impressive results, especially in PvP. Like, specifically in PvP, Nightmare has been excelling quite hard. He's been taking down top players like Zaun on a much more regular basis, and even threatening Classic as well. So Nightmare has had some really impressive PvP as of late. We'll see how his TvP compares. We shall see. There we go. Here we go. We're getting into our next game. We have our fresh series here again. As for greater context, of course, the winner of this series will advance on into the semis to play against Shin. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of At Attorney's Edge, we have the blue Protoss player. We have the South Green Protoss representing Streamer Zone. It is Nightmare. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the blue Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Stowny Balls. It is Nicaract. I have to fix up the team name because I accidentally put Platinum Heroes. Un momento. But here we go. If you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Oh, no, hold on. I think I have to close the previous predictions. Uh-oh. Un momento. Yeah. There we go. So predictions will soon be open, so you can place your bets on who you think will claim the series. As we mentioned previously, I would say that in the current patch, in the current meta, Nightmare and Nicaract are a little bit closer in skill, if not maybe even in favor of Nightmare a little bit more here. Nightmare has been grinding a lot more in recent weeks, has been putting in a lot of work, putting in a lot of effort, and it has been paying off in tournament results. Out of all players, Nightmare, he was one of the players to actually qualify for RSL over some of these other more regulars in recent months and in recent years. So it has been really cool to see. There we go. there are those predictions. They are now open. So place your bets, get your gamba going for the TVP. Gamba, papi, gamba. For now, double gas. So double gas opener out of Nickrat, double gas faster factory. If you're familiar with TVP, you would know that we've been seeing a lot of 2-base all-ins from Terran players, a lot of early game aggression into sometimes forced mid to late game. I will say though that this map doesn't really favor aggression as much. The rush distance background is a little bit longer. It's a little bit easier to fortify yourself on 4 bases on at Attorney's Edge. So yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a tougher game here for Nickrat if he does want to be the aggressor. Again, double gas, faster tech, faster factory. Delayed CC out of Nickrat. One of the other reasons why this map typically does favor Protoss more than Terran is just the bases themselves. It's very common if the game slows down for the Protoss player to just mass expand and take over the entire map. Still does occur. This is an issue that was not addressed, by the way, in the new patch. And a part of this map, of course, is the gold base. We have the gold expansion and we have high yield bases as well. So the issue here on At Attorney's Edge, if the game does go on long enough, if Nightmare gains map control and mass expands, he will also have the advantage of a gold expansion and high yield gases as well. So this boosts whoever has map control even more than regular maps. So in my mind, Nickrat is going to want to avoid the late game and will be wanting to try to end things earlier instead. Speaking of, Jesus, we're going for a 1-1-1, no CC whatsoever. Let's go, baby, let's go. Okay. We're gonna commit, we're gonna double down. Oh, I bet on Nico right when you said this is gonna be a tougher game for him. I mean, my comments are in context of this map specifically, not the entire series, right? Like, I would favor Nickrat on smaller maps, like if we load into Rainfall or Rorschach, you know, some of these smaller maps that favor aggression, that's where I do favor the Terran, I do favor Nickrat. But specifically for this map, I mean, we can see that 1 base all in, right? 1 base all in makes sense. Nickrat, he starts to move out. This would be a tougher game for Nickrat if he tried to macro, but we're not macroing. True, we're going for the all-in. Let's go. Gonna end the game early. As the tank is on the way, we're waiting for the tank to lift up to boost across the map, rallying out the Viking. The Viking can always land to add DPS. It's just pure DPS army here, pure 1 base all in. Here comes the army, here comes the drop. Back at home at Nightmare, he has 1 safety battery on the low ground. We're going to blink 2-gate? 2-gate blink Stalker here. The battery will help at Nightmare. He has to engage ahead of time. We have to try to slow this down. Yeah, Nightmare staying back. Tank Luna siege up. Doesn't load. It doesn't load within range. Tank will siege. We're getting within range of the pylon. And that's not just his pylon. Yeah, the pylon's going to be focused down. Nice tank shots here on the Stalkers. Depowers the battery. Depowers the gateway. We only have 1 gateway. Yeah, just 1 gateway for Nightmare. That's all he's got. He needs an army. He needs production. Yeah, he needs that production. Going to be zoned further back. Tank is pushing forward. We're gaining ground. As the tank does siege up, the woods being pulled. He dives. Yeah, with that Nightmare, he does dive in. There's the NG overcharge. Does barely focus on the tank. But we'll lose everything. Yeah, we'll lose every single probe here. That's going to be 11 probes going down. Army blinks in. Down to 2 Stalkers. Nightmare, he's going to keep going. And I think he's done it. Yeah, Nightmare, he has done it. He takes over the natural. Tank does siege. Zones away the Stalkers. They do blink away, but there's barely anything here. We're down to 1. Down to 1 Stalker. We're warping in 2 Stalkers at a time. A third gateway even finishing up in the main. But the natural's forfeit. Like, Nightmare cannot save the natural. Not like this. Not anymore. Never mind. He's going for it. He's crazy. He dives in. Does snipe the tank, but we'll lose the base. Yeah, we'll lose the Nexus. Another tank has arrived. The army's pushing in. Waddling into the main. Now we're up to 3 Vikings. Atlanta Vikings do a surprising amount of damage to Stalkers. They just dominate the ground. They dominate probes and Stalkers this early on. Nice target firing. Cleans up all the Stalkers. Down to 1. 1 Stalker left. And GG. GG gets called. Nickrat takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Nickrat, he will take a lead in the series. Again, I was concerned about Nickrat getting to a macro game on Ad Attorney's Edge. So we just one base all in. Babby, let's go. We just one base all in. With that, Nickrat does catch Nightmare with his pants down. Winding up back here, it was imperative that Nightmare slowed the push down, but he didn't. He kept everything back at home, so he wasn't able to slow down the army, chip away at the Marines, force an early siege. Nickrat, he was freely going across the map and freely was able to siege up within range of the low ground production. On top of that, we saw that there was only one gateway there for Nightmare. He went for a 2-gate opener, one in the main, one in the natural. It was unfortunate, but that natural gateway went down very quickly and very fast. So very limited production there for Nightmare. He barely had an army to work with. GG. GG, well played. With that, Nightmare, he does take, Nickrat does take lead in the series, and now we're going to be loading into game number 2. Let's go. Game 2 is going to be on Blackrock. Okay, so Blackrock is an interesting map in the map pool. I would say that Blackrock has a very exposed 3rd and 4th expansion. Has really exposed 3rd and 4th bases, and these bases can be very difficult to defend against an aggressive player. We'll see if we get to that point, right? Do we see like a 2-base all-in pushing into the natural? That's kind of what I'm leaning towards for Nickrat. Again, we expect all-ins out of Nickrat. But here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Blackrock, we have the South Korean Protoss, we have the blue Protoss representing Streamer Zone. It is Nightmare. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the purple Terran player representing Stowny Balls, leading the series 1-0. It is Nickrat. Here we go. So loading into game 2, Nickrat, he does have a lead in the series, and we'll see if he can get out or squeeze out another win. Now, he did embrace the 1-base all-in last game, going for the 1-1-1. This time, I'm expecting to see 2-base play. You don't want to rely on the same build multiple times in a series. At this level of play, your opponents will adapt to you. They will adapt, they will respond, and they will be able to shut you down, so you do want to be able to mix things up a little bit more. Here, as we just mentioned, the 3rd base, whether it's this triangular 3rd location or the linear 3rd location, is very open. You can see here a wide entrance on the top side, a wide entrance here on the right hand side, similarly set here on the northern base as well. So because there are multiple angles of attack and because it's a little bit more open, there's no like elevated position, like there's no high ground, defensive high ground or anything like that. We have seen many a player struggle to defend these locations, so I like the idea a little bit more of Nickrat going for an economic start, which he is, into a 2-base all-in. So single gas opener, as opposed to last game, Nickrat will expand. He will expand here. Viking bonus versus mechanical work. Yes, as we mentioned, Vikings, they do extra damage versus probes against stalkers as well. When you go for 1-base all-in like that, it makes sense to reinforce with Vikings instead of like medevacs when it comes to your star pro production. Just have as much DPS as possible, as much damage. Otherwise, as we mentioned, single gas, which means Nickrat does expand, building up on 2 bases. My expectations here are that Nickrat is going to go for a 2-base all-in, but we'll see if he does meet or subvert those expectations, right? There's a world where maybe Nickrat can feel like he can be greedy and rush into a 3rd base, and maybe Nightmare's overly defensive and overly safe, and maybe you can kind of mind game his opponents. There are ways to approach this. So far, catching out 1 probe. Catching on 1 worker, getting a full scat as well. I believe does get eyes on the tech of choice. It is going to be a Twilight Council opener out of Nightmare. And Nickrat, he does miss the Twilight Council. He does miss it. From here, pulls away, gets caught out. Back across the map, we do have the 1-1-1 out of Nickrat. From here, we can go into like a Tech Lab, into early drop play. We can go into an add-on swap into Banshee play, for example, or Raven Harass. No Tech Lab yet, though. Nightmare moves out. Nickrat set up. Oh. Yes, okay, does catch the first step. Very nice, actually. Okay, nice catch, nice sudden stepping. In the end, Nightmare here gets punished. Does get punished. Mirror pulls away. And it is, in fact, going to be Cloak Banshee. So we did theorize maybe Raven harass, maybe Banshee harass. Here we're going to double down a little bit further and go into Cloak. This can excel if Nightmare was cutting corners. We can see, though, Nightmare going for a safety Robo. So it's playing it safe. We have one gate in the main and one gate at the natural. That is a Robo before expanding. And, oh, that is a third gateway. That is abnormal here. It's a little more standard to go two gate blink into a third base. This third gateway tells us that Nightmare's he's either trying to be very, very safe or he wants to be aggressive. He will have excess stalkers. We'll have excess stalkers. I do like Nightmare playing safe against Nickrat, who, again, if we can like assume that he's going to 2-base all in this game, I'm sure that Nightmare can as well. Nightmare does expand. Helen is shut down. And I believe Nightmare has not scouted. Yeah, has not scouted the main base, is not aware of the Cloak Banshee. There is going to be an observer, but I believe the observer will be rallied across the map, will not be at home to defend. We can always recall. We can always recall the observer. But the first one does move out. Meanwhile, the Banshee has arrived. Second observer will pop. Just in time, actually. The timing is crazy. It gets 1, 2, maybe 3. 3 probes. 3 probe kills. Nightmare pulls away. But so far, sorry, Nickrat pulls away. But so far, Nickrat having a good start. Got 3 workers, saves the Banshee, keeping supply busy. Second Banshee's moving out. Nothing in the main. Ooh, again, considering that Cloak was resource, there's a very high chance that there's going to be a second Banshee. So Nickrat, there we go, does rotate over, getting a battery. We do see a third observer on the way. Banshee still gets in. And he gets another 1, 2, 3, get 3, not quite. Again, there is no detection. Observer now responding. Get a decent start here from Nickrat. More importantly, he has kept the Banshees alive, going back in and finding potentially 1 more. Oh, gets 1 more and gets away. Barely gets away. Shout out to the Marine Taurens. Taurens back. This Banshee does hide in the center of them and the corner of the map. Oh, the rally though. Uh-oh. No, yeah, it does miss rally. We'll lose the first Banshee. And Banshee does go down, and we do see that Nickrat is going to push out, but Nickrat is expanding. So again, my assumption was he was going to be a more aggressive on 2 bases, but no, Nickrat is getting a third CC. We are building up into the mid game. Okay, bold move. Nickrat being active. So is Nightmare, who reacts first. Nope. Nightmare does blink. Does wing away, does take some extra hits though. That is some hull damage. Yeah, hull damage on Nightmare. Zelts have arrived, show some line shots. Ooh, they do connect. Nice connections. Yeah, Zelt's gonna be going down. A tank stay tank. Cleans up all the Zealots, going for the Stalkers as well, and Nickrat he breaks through. Yeah, Nickrat he breaks through. A much stronger fight for Nickrat. Ay, ay, ay. He can keep going. He's pushing into the mineral line. He's pushing into the bases. Nightmare, he will lose every single unit here. Probes are going down, and with that, Nickrat, he's snowballing out of control. Denies the economy. Can he chase him down? Can he chase down the probes, or can he just fight head on? True, like we could... As reinforces that... Oh, being thrown away. Oh, that's a big miss rally here. Throws away 2 Widow Mines. That would have helped immensely against all these Zealots. Nickrat, he's got to be careful. He's got to be careful here. He does have momentum. Banshee's still alive, cashing out a couple of workers. Nickrat moving back in. And Nightmare, he's in trouble. He's in trouble. He's up against the wall. Okay, he played out so many units earlier. The force field's working against Nightmare, actually. He's just creating a choke point here in favor of Nickrat. The Banshee's still alive? Shout out to the Banshee. Still popping up, by the way. Another 2. Another 2 kills. And it's just a numbers game. Without splash damage, and there's no way to get splash damage at the moment just because the economy is so stifled. Nightmare just can't engage. This time there are mines. Oh, nice on burrow out of Nickrat. Very nicely done. Yeah, Zelda going down. We're just zoning back the Stalkers. Show some eye shots. Oof. One connects. There's one left. Base goes down. A bit of friendly fire on the Medivacs. But this is still worth it. Still worth it for Nickrat. Oof. Still takes down the expansion. Nightmare, he had no backup fourth base. Is now down in expansion, down a base, he commits to the Terran. And now Nickrat is just snowballing out of control. He's snowballing out of control, just building up more of an army. The drop play here is a little bit risky because he is going to be now pushing out with only a portion of his army at a time. Nightmare moving in, and Nickrat does back off. He just scanned. He just scanned. He saw the army. Thankfully, he turns back around. Yeah, turns back around. Meanwhile, big shout to Estes, sort of in the chat. God, baby, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great, I'm assuming, ladder session. Hope you've had a great time. Estes, sort of. And welcome one and all here to the quarterfinals of the Sparkling Tunica. Right now, it might be a TVP, but we do have some Zerg action after this series. Remember, SHIN, the Korean Zerg player, is waiting for the winner of this series in the semifinals. So if you want some SHIN action, we got you covered after this best of 3. We got you covered. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Sorry, thanks for the raid. Thank you so much. Este, sort of. Hope you guys had a great time. As Nightmare, he's behind. He's double expanding, claiming his third base and his fourth. At least trying to. So going for the double expand. Likewise, Nickrat is already building a Viking production. Colossus are on the way, but Vikings are going to be ready. Nickrat does them in. Again, looking to break out. He's already got his academy. He's got his EMPs ready. He's got his ghosts. Now, as the game slows down a little bit here, Nightmare does have the opportunity to recover. Thanks to the double expand, he does get his fourth base up and running, so this is a little bit dangerous here. But bearing in mind, the Nickrat is about to max out. He's going to max out with 2-2 upgrades as well. We have 0-0 for Nightmare. Ay. The Forge is just now on the way. And Nickrat, he should not hold back. He should not hold back. The army does rush in. Vikings that catch out the first Colossus immediately here. One Colossus goes down. There's one Colossus left, and we just get free damage. Yeah, we just get so much damage here on the Colossus. The battery does put in work. Battery's out of energy. One more volley. Ooh, Colossus goes down, and 0 splash damage. 0 splash damage yet left with that Nickrat. He snowballs out of control, breaks through the main army. GG gets called, and Nickrat, he will claim the series 2-0, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations, Nickrat. He will claim the series. Very intense back and forth here. Game 1, Nickrat did go for the initial one base all in, which did make sense considering the map itself, but I was most impressed here by game number 2. This is where Nickrat didn't go for an all in. He was aggressive, don't get me wrong. He was being very aggressive, of course. He was being very in the face of Nightmare, but we once again saw Nightmare being, even though he went for a safer build, he was unable to slow down the push, unable to stop Nickrat from getting across the map, and we saw some brutal engagements at that third base. Not just that though, the setup for the push was the Banshee harass. The Banshees got insane amount of damage done. I was so surprised by how many workers went down to 2 Banshees. Even as the push was happening, even as Nickrat was knocking down the third base, the Banshee was still getting more damage done in between the natural and the third. GG, well played with that. Congratulations to Nickrat, and we're going to be following Nickrat into that next series. Again, it's going to be a ZVT Nickrat versus SHIN. Let's go. So just messaging the players, letting them know. As you can see here, we have Nickrat and SHIN. They're going to be facing off in the upper semifinals. It's going to be a best of 3, bear that in mind, best of 3 ZVT. Meanwhile, scrolling down, we do still have some other matches ongoing. We have Percival, he's up against Fire in a TVP. And we have Classic versus Camo as well. So it looks like the lower quarterfinals are still ongoing here. We're going to be covering the upper semis first, and then the lower semifinals. And then the grand final. So we have 3 series left here tonight. Semis, then finals. So until then, though, we're going to be going on a short break. It's going to be a short one. We're just waiting for the vetoes to get going. So we're going to be going on a short break. When we come back, we'll have our ZVT, SHIN and Nickrat. See you soon. See you soon after the break. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back here. Welcome back to the semifinals or semifinals here of the Smart Tuna Cup number 139. We're here in the top 4 of our events, and we're here to find out who's going to be the first player to advance on to the grand finals. Will it be a Terran? Will it be a Zerg? We're here to find out. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of At Attorney's Edge, we have the purple Terran player. We have the purple Terran. We have the Stony Bulls Terran. It is Nickrat. Representing Stony Bulls, and spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the South Green Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Onside. It is SHIN. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat. Best of luck as we delve into our best of 3. Now, coming into this, I'll be honest, I've been seeing a lot of Nickrat's Terran versus Terran and Terran versus Protoss. I have not casted Nickrat's TVZ this patch. I say this patch, I don't believe I've seen Nickrack's TVZ ever since the PTR, so I'm very inexperienced, right? I'm lacking some of the context or some of the information of how Nickrack has been approaching this matchup, whether he's been embracing this kind of like hyper-aggressive, chaotic mid-game, if he's been going into mech, if he's been trying to go for some earlier all-ins instead. I can't really speak too much as to Nickrack's tendencies in this current matchup. I will say that pre-patch, in the previous patch before the PTR, Nickrack was very much so 2 base and 3 base heavy, and very much so hyper aggressive in the mid game. In the mid game specifically, less so late game play and less so early game aggression. That's kind of what he was known for. And Nickrack is a really fast player. He's a really fast player. He's very aggressive, very active as well. A lot of drop play, a lot of committed pushes. We would see, again, like 5 racks, 2 base all-ins, even when it was out of meta, for example. We'd see that quite a bit. So we'll see how Nickrack is evolving in the new patch, in the new era of StarCraft here. The meta right now is to be very aggressive in the mid game with a lot of pushes, a lot of drop play, multi-prong aggression to try to pull the Zerg player apart with Biomine. But I don't know if Nickrack's one to embrace that right now. We'll see. And we shall see. Meanwhile, SHIN has had some mixed results as of late in ZVT, very, very mixed. I will say that SHIN, his style, his go-to, of course, is to open roaches and go into Ultra Tech, of course. He's been playing a lot recently with Muta play. We've been seeing a lot of Ling Bane Muta. A lot of Ling Bane Muta as of late, with, again, mixed results against the new Widowmine specifically. Again, the new Widowmine can be very punishing, can be very aggressive, can really swing a fight and swing a game in said favor. And we'll see. We shall see. Again, we've been covering SHIN a lot during the War TV Mondays and during the KSL as well. And again, SHIN, he time and time again was getting ahead, getting into a better position, and then he would lose that lead. He was losing that lead in those EVTs. Had a very, very, very hard time kind of keeping up and competing. It was specifically, if you recall, it was Percival versus SHIN. Percival versus SHIN during the War TV Monday. This was yesterday's broadcast, where SHIN every game would get ahead. He'd get ahead, get into a better position, and then lose that lead. It just kept happening. I believe it was this week's What Is It Monday. I'm just double checking. Yes. It was this week's What Is It Monday. SHIN does come in. Oh no, there's a round! Ooh, does catch it. 1, 2, 3 Hellions. That should not have happened. That should not have happened here. Ay. Yeah, SHIN moves in, gets all 4. Wow, 4 Hellions go down. GG gets called, and before we can even get into our game, it all ends, and SHIN takes game number 1. Oof, GG. GG, well played. Again, we were just opening up, getting into our standard openers here. To lose 4 Hellions that quickly, that early on to a Ling run by, that should never happen. That should never happen. So a big blunder there from Nickrack. Was caught with his pants down, was caught inattentive, lost all 4 Hellions. That's game. GG. GG, well played. With that, SHIN does claim a lead in the series, and we are now getting into game number 2. Let's go. Meanwhile, big shout out to Thunderpool. Thunderpool QT, thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing for the first time with a tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the content, the casting, and the StarCraft. Hope you enjoy as we're now getting to game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. As we're getting into game 2 here, going to be loading into Sanctuary 3, and I'm hoping that Nickrack can tighten up his play here, especially when it comes to said early game. We can't afford to make these mistakes, not against SHIN, not like this. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Sanctuary 3, we have the purple Terran player. We have the purple Terran representing Team Stowny Balls. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is Nickrack. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner with a cheeky win in that last game, getting across over the handful of Zerglings and just catching out all 4 Hellions. We have the red Zerg player representing onside. It is SHIN. Let's go. let us go. We're settling into game number 2 here. And again, the game ended before we could really sink our teeth into anything. Our players were still opening up. We were just getting into our openers, into our opening builds. And before we could really get the game going here, SHIN got across the map with some Lings. Nickrack, he was late to react, late to respond. He got his first 3 Hellions surrounded, and the 4th Hellion was chased down as well. And to lose 4 Hellions when going for a 1-1-1 like that is just a brutal way to open. And that was game. That was game then and there. From here, oh, pool first. Interesting. Cheeky build here by SHIN, going for an earlier spawning pool. Now, this should not be for an all-in, but this typically is to squeeze out some Lings early on to get across the map and to potentially delay the CC. Delay that command center. I feel like if the goal was to go for just a safe build, it would have been hatch pool. Just would have been hatch into spawning pool before gas. So we're expecting, say, a pair of 2 Lings to move out. We'll keep an eye on SHIN. Never played StarCraft. I love the content of the casting. Oh, thank you, Baba. Thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. It's interesting to hear that you've never played StarCraft before. I think that's quite... It's relatively rare. I mean, it's not rare that that people watch the game that don't actively play the game, but I feel like a lot of viewers at least play the campaign, right? I feel like the campaign is relatively popular. So to get into StarCraft without actually playing the game is, I think that's a little bit more of a rare story. But regardless, I'm glad you enjoy the content, the casting. Glad you enjoy. Yeah. This is that kind of like sparks the question as to how you got into StarCraft. How you got into it. But otherwise, I see the chat. I wish I never played StarCraft. I think that's the sentiment of a lot of people that have hit the ladder. That's true. That's true. Oh no, that's too real, Pappy. That's too real. The smurge, Pappy. The smurge. Maybe another viewer who never played, coming from fighting games. Yeah. I recall. There's a couple of people that came from, like, say, watching another esports and then, like, heard about StarCraft and decided to poke their head in to see what was going on. True. See, Grail never played the game. That's crazy. Oh my god. Never played StarCraft. No. But now we're going to be opening up. Again, we have our initial hatch gas pool. If you recall, I did assume that SHIN was going to move out early on with a pair of Lings, but opted not to. So just very safe play into, 2-base lair. Now this goes into what we spoke about in game 1, if you remember, how SHIN has been playing a lot with muta play. We've been seeing a lot of mutas out of SHIN, and we're seeing it here as well. So this is a 340-ish lair timing. Gases are being taken. Ling speed is on the way. Continued gas mining, of course, into 2-base muta. Now, we'll see if Nickrack can punish this. Back across the map, Nickrack is going for a 1-1-1, a very aggressive build, but actually going for a 1-1-1, but no reacted Marine. Sorry, no reacted Hellion. No reacted Hellion here. It's going to be Cloak Banshee, reacted Marine into early tank. This is a really quirky build. It's very, very quirky. It's looking like an early push. I'm assuming this is going to be for a tank and not a Cyclone. But this is very committed on 2 bases. And the lack of Hellions is a little bit confusing, because Hellions usually give you map control and even some vision and some scouting information. Nickrack, he does have the, or he did scout with the SCV earlier. No Reaper Scouts, and it is for the tank. The other really weird... No, he cancels. I'm so confused. I was gonna say the weird thing about going for the tank is that you're delaying stim, right? Because there's no tech level on the ranks, you're delaying stim. It looks like Nickrack agrees, so he does go for the add-on swap, cancels the tank, and now he will be able to get into stim as well, but it's gonna be late. It's gonna be delayed stim. So really awkward build here out of Nickrack. The build itself is looking a little bit undercooked. Like, it's looking like a little bit of like a freestyle, like where Nickrack is just vibing, just off of vibes, just trying to piece it together. Banshee does move out. Fast layer means that we are going to have some detection. Banshee is zoned away. And the Spire is done. And the Spire is complete. Meter production has begun. Oh. We're going for Drop Lord. Okay. Drop Lord also starts up. I'm pretty sure that was meant to be an Overseer, by the way. I don't think that's supposed to be a Drop Lord, but sure. Enemies are revealed. They hunt down the Banshees. Cloak will not save them, but we can split. Yeah, we can split up the Banshees. One is hunted down. The other will get away. Back at home, Nick throwing down turrets. There is no third CC. There's no third CC, so this is basically a 2-base all-in out of Nick, but a very awkward one because there is very late stim. As they move into the main, Nick moves out. Thankfully, we're going to be denying combat shields, not stim. Jesus, that would have been brutal. Yeah, as SCVs are being targeted, and it's all or nothing with Nick. He's sending everything across the map. We're sending it all. They just catch reinforcements. They dominate the main base. The upgrades will finish. And here he comes. Combat is complete. Stim finishing up in 5 seconds. There's Link Bane to defend. Bailing speed as well. Oh god. Yeah, there is bailing speed. Now we just collapse in. Zoning back the Marines. The longer this goes on, the better it is for SHIN. Oh, no! He does take the base to the face. Yeah, GG. GG gets called. And with that, SHIN, he will claim the series 2-0, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played, congratulations SHIN. He will claim the series, he will advance on. Again, Nick unfortunately had just a really unlucky game 1 where he got his Hellions caught out and the game just kind of ended. Like, I was really looking forward to get into some ZVT, and game 1 was really unfortunate. Here in game 2, we saw that Nick it was a bit of a quirky build, going for like 1 base play, 3-1-1 setup into tank, canceling the tank, then going into upgrades. But because of the early tank, like, and because of the delayed second racks, it was like delayed bio production, delayed stim, specifically delayed stim, delayed combat shields. It was a bit of a quirky build there, but GG. In the end, SHIN does claim the series, got away with his meter play, did snowball out of control, and with that, SHIN does advance on. Meanwhile though, shout out to Nick for making it to the top 4, and also for his performance against Nightmare, because Nick did look very, very good in that previous TVP. Very impressive play there by Nick against Nightmare, less so against SHIN, but TVP looking good, looking solid. GG. GG, well played. With that, we are going to be heading over here to the Korean server, as up next we have our next matchup. It's going to be a Terran versus Protoss. Okay. It's going to be a TVP. Let us switch our scenes over and catch up on the bracket. Okay. As you can see here, Classic took down Camo 2-0, so Classic does advance on to the lower bracket semis. Meanwhile, we saw Percival. Percival, likewise, did take down his opponent's Arrowfire 2-1. Oh, went to the ace match. Yo, shout out to Arrowfire. I was very tempted, by the way. I was very tempted to jump into those matches. That's why I was looking for the EBA series earlier to be in this lower portion of the brackets, but a very impressive performance there by Arrowfire to force Percival into the ace match. Did go down, but did go the distance. Did go the distance here. As we are getting into lower semifinals, Vitas are done, and Classic versus Percival, they're going to be facing off to determine the winner and who faces off against SHIN in the grand finals. Let's go. Let us go. Just catching up with the chat. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Lockdown, we have the blue Protoss player. We have the South Korean Protoss representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Terran player. We have the South Korean Terran. It is Percival. Oh, hello. If you're in the chats, predictions are open. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series as Classic does begin with a proxy. And we're opening up with the proxy here in the center of the map. Going for the gateway. I'm curious how many gates get thrown down. Is it just a singular gateway into a cybercore back at home, into gases, into our follow-up, or do we open up proxy 2 gate? Just catching with the chat. I clicked on the stream at 3 AM one day, and I was like, oh, let's go. Fair enough, fair enough. I didn't play late in life. Started as Terran, but I hold and don't have the APM, so I play Protoss now, so I can win with one finger. Oh, let's go. See, that's the retirement plan. That's the plan. You start as Zerg and Terran, and then you switch to Protoss as the APM leaves you. It's fine. It's fine. Kappa. There you go. Yeah, we're opening up. It is just one gateway. Just one gateway here. Classic back at home does take his gases, get his pylons. So this is not a one base all in. It is a way to be aggressive early on. Do not get me wrong. It's a way to be aggressive. It's a way to disrupt the build. Percival is going for an economic start. We can see one gas back at home. So Percival is going for a faster CC. And the goal for Classic is to disrupt that build, to disrupt the command center. The Zealot's coming. The Zealot is on the way. CC is now off center. With that Cybercore finishing, it means we can go Zealot and then we can reinforce with a Stalker after the first 2 Zealots. And the goal is to delay. We might even force a cancel. But a bunch of RTSs, Mage Vampires, Command and Conquer, I'm assuming. And what Soccer is, just hit a support Zerg. Okay. Fair enough. As here we go, the first 2 Zealots I do rock up. Again, one to delay the CC, the other to swipe away at the wall. And that Stalker's coming. Yeah, the Stalker is coming. The wall is down. Yeah, the wall is down. Zealots are going for the depot. The Stalker's on the way. Boys are being pulled. Yeah, messy here from Percival. As SCVs are exposed, they're going to go down. This is too much. There's too much damage here. 3 SCV kills. Can he get another? He can. The bunker will not complete. Is that just game? Like, the bunker is going to be cancelled because these Zealots are on the other side of the wall. They can swipe away at the SCVs. We do cool down the supply. Yeah, supply is cooled down. There's also trading against more workers here. There's going to be 5 SCVs going down, and a Marine. Does he get 2? Another swipe. Oh no, Percival trying to get out of here. It does pull back. Meanwhile, a second Stalker has arrived. We get another SCV. 6, 7 SCV kills. And remember, Classic is expanding. He's expanding. He's working on the next step. There's a cancellation on the CC. Another worker falls, getting up to 8 workers, and a second Marine. And Classic is just nobly out of control, just getting so much value, so much damage. We'll lose 1 Stalker, a bit of miscontrol out of Classic, but he still trades well. He still takes out every Marine. Oh, he gets in! No shot. Yeah, with that takes down 2 more SCVs, and another 2 Marines go down. That's game. I mean, this is just game-ending damage. Game-ending damage here. It's been 10 SCV kills, 7 Marines, and a Reaper as well. For what? For 1 Stalker and 2 Zealots. GG. Classic takes game number 1. Ay. And GG, Classic, it does take a lead in the series. Again, a really unfortunate start there for Percival to not be able to fully wall off. What I was referring to, winding it back a little bit here, the fact that those first two Zealots got on top of the depot means that we couldn't repair. Usually in this kind of game state, usually in this kind of position, you fully wall off the ramp coming into the natural base, coming into the main. From the natural, you lift the depot, and that means when you pull the boys, you can safely repair. But because the Zealots were on top of the depot and were on the other side of the wall, you couldn't repair. The SCVs were being killed. So a lot of workers went down faster than they should have. Like, there was a lot of damage done early on, more than should have occurred here because of some miscontrol from Percival, and it all just kind of snowballed out of control. It all just got out of hand. Of course, the bunker never finished, the wall was eventually broken, and Marines were going down. It was just a very, very, very chaotic early game. GG. GG, well played, and with that, we're now getting into game number 2. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Rorschach, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss. Representing Virtus Pro, it is Classic. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Terran player. The red Terran himself, it is Percival. I see Rico in the chat asking, what MMR? These are literally the best players in the world. So, MMR as a concept does not matter here. But yes, can confirm these are Diamond 3 players. High Platinum 1. High Platinum 1, low Diamond 3. Kappa. There we go. Here we go. We're loading into our next game. Streaming Commander, Command & Conquer, Red Alerts, AOM, Rise on Cheese. So many go-to games. Unfortunately, I missed out on the whole Command & Conquer like side of things. Like, I also played a lot of RTSs growing up. Like, I played so much Age of Empires 1, Age of Mythology. I played a lot of what I loved. Shout out to those that played it at the time. I don't think it's available anymore, unfortunately. Battle for Middle-earth. Yo, I loved Battle for Middle-earth. I was a big Lord of the Rings fan. What else comes to mind? Dawn of War, of course. Dawn of War. Brood War. But I did miss out on on Command & Conquer and Red Alerts. Those are some RTSs that did pass me by, unfortunately, in my youth as I was growing up. Did miss out on them. There we go. Here we go. We are going to be opening up, and again, this time it is going to be double gas. Double gas open out of Percival, double gas into a faster factory, into a more tech-heavy start. Remember, last game, Percival did go for a more greedy economic build, this time playing it safe and close to the chest. Meanwhile, Classic this time going for a standard opener. So, because of what occurred in game 1, that impacts now game number 2. The mind games have hit, it forces Percival to be less economic, and Classic gets away with a more standard build. Now the pressure is going to be on Percival, but before I get ahead of myself, we are going to be able to get into Rorschach, a very rare map. This is one of the most vetoed maps of the map pool. Like Rorschach and the 4-player small maps, they're often vetoed, rarely seen. Why is that? The rush distance. Very short rush distance by ground. Aggression is heavily favored here on Rorschach. We have a healing pad in the center that can, of course, bolster all-ins as well, and we're expecting aggression out of our Terran player. What do you see? 1-1-1. 1-1-1. No command center in sight. We're going for reactive wood mines early on into early drop play, I would imagine. Do we go into a quad drop? Keep an eye on Percival. Likewise, some of the other features, of course, is the goal base. We have the goal base here on the top side. Okay, it's going to be scouting. Battle for Middle-earth 2 is my favorite game of all time. Let's go. I played that on the Xbox. For some reason, the 360 had a bunch of RTSs on it. It had, of course, Halo Wars, and it had Command & Conquer, and had Battle for Middle-earth 2 as well. I never played the expansion though. I never played the Wrath or the Rise of the Witch King. I never played the expansion, but was a lot of fun. Good times, man. Good times. Unfortunately, I believe it is not available anywhere except for like pirating it. Unfortunately. There we go. We do get our quad drop into the main. Classic does pull away, and we get 1, 2, 3. We're expecting 4 kills. Oh, ooh, getting up to 4. 4 kills. 4 probes do go down for 1 Widow Mine, and Percival does save the other 3. More importantly, the medevac. Medevac has plenty of HP, so we can always go back in for another drop. Behind this, Percival does expand, CC on the high ground. Bearing in mind this is a delayed expansion, but so far we're getting some damage done, and we can potentially get even more. Getting ready for another drop, and for another 2 Widow Mines, and another medevac. So the drop play continues. We are setting up. And now expanding. Actually going, so Widow Mine drop into Banshee play, okay. The Banshee follow-up at the same time. Classy does go for a proxy pylon across the map. It does reinforce. He's here to delay the expansion. We'll see if he can. Now, thankfully, the Woodermines do stay back home to defend. Yeah, they stay back home. Ooh, base out the first shot. But the tank is in position. Yeah, the tank is ready. Percival does secure his natural. Is setting up. Repairing the Woodermine. Oh, base out the shot. Oh my god. Base out the shot. Diving on top of the army. Can we get on top of the tank? We can. Yeah, the Stalkers, they do move in. The tank is going to go down. Massive pickup. Tank falls. Yeah, the Banshee that defends. And SCVs are going down. A better trade here for Classic. At the same time, the mines. Oh my god. 11 probes go down. Yeah, Classic, he was distracted. So were we. We're all distracted. Mine shot goes off. Percival, he's barely holding on. He does have one more tank. Yeah, Percival, he's holding. Massive tank shot goes off. He does defend here at the natural. At the same time, 11 workers go down to the mine drop. He came back. And now we're getting messy. Now we're getting very, very messy here. Suddenly, the worker counts are neck and neck. Percival ahead in SCVs, plus he has mules. So better economy for Percival. On top of that, no third. No third expansion for Classic. And no third base. The mine drop is still alive, by the way. No shot. I'd have to say, try to go for the dive. We're going for the tank. The tank will go down. And do we get into the mineral line? Pushing further into the main. Uh-oh. Does move in. There's a tank on the high ground. Stalkers are getting cornered. Yeah, they're getting cornered here. A little bit messy. There is no blink, and the army's going to fall. Yeah, we're going to clean up all these Stalkers' expensive losses at the same time. Hydra comes back in. Another 3 probe kills. Yeah, another 3 workers. The mine drop into the main base. The mine drops, they continue. Yo, it's like 2021 all over again. The mine drops. If you recall, this kind of play, like this kind of committed Woodermine drop, like drop after drop after drop, was a lot more common a couple of years ago, before all the nerfs. If you recall, there were like 2 or 3 nerfs that hit the Woodermine at once. Some of them were a little bit more invernance, but one of the big ones was that the radius was reduced. So reduced the radius, I believe reduced damage as well. So it did do less damage. And on top of that, there was also the patch that did introduce the alert, where Protoss players, they do get the alert when the Woodermine drops within range. At the same time, Classic commits into the main. It does go for the warp in. Pushing into the mineral line. This time there is no tank to defend. Uh-oh. No tank to defend. The Banshee does get focused down. Tank repositions. We're getting some damage down, but that was still another 9 probe kills across the map. This is not good enough. It's still not good enough. Still no third base for Classic. Trying to warp in, trying to be more aggressive. Classic down to 31 workers, still down in economy. Going back in. Oh. It does try to go back in. And he's zoned away. Yeah, he's going to be zoned away here. Cannot quite break through. Shades into the mineral line. Okay, shades into the mineral line and catching a couple more SCVs. Just only getting 3 more SCV kills, still not quite worth it. Percival getting further ahead, building up a greater force, and now starting to move out. And defensively, Classic doesn't really have much going for him. Oh no, the mine shot! Oh my god, the full prism goes down. GG gets called, and we are going to the ace match. GG. Whew. GG, well played. With that, we're getting into the ace match here. We're going to game 3. Again, hyper aggression out of both players, but the mine drops, they excelled for Percival. As we try to mention, seeing mine drops be this prevalent and be this active and be this successful, it's been quite some time since we've seen this, just because of, again, all the nerfs that did hit mine drop play. Mine drops used to be the meta in TVP, but now with the faster shots going off, with the reduced lock-on time, we do see Percival thrive with this. Does thrive. Does pull Classic apart, and with that, we're now getting into game number 3. We're going to be loading into the ace match. Let's go. Let us go. and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner here of the Old Sun Temple. We have the blue Protoss player. We have the South Green Protoss. Oh, we have the South Green Protoss player himself being forced into the ace match. Can he bring it back? It is a classic. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Terran player, the South Green Terran. It is Percival. Here we go. Here we go. We're settling into game number 3 here. And early on, Classic going for another proxy. Oh boy, the RNG here, the Gamba. Bearing in mind that Classic has not found Percival. This is a 4-player spawn map, and he does go for the proxy here in between the left and right hand bases, or I should say top right and bottom right hand bases. Does go for the proxy and gambles well as he is right next to the main base of Percival. The Gamba. Go. From here again, Classic is going to be going for the proxy. He does scout for his opponent, looking for Percival. He's looking. Yeah, it does break in. Likewise, Percival also going for the scout on the left-hand side, looking for his opponent. And Classic will confirm that Percival is top right. It does confirm. Percival also now confirms that Classic is spawned bottom left, but it's going to be a late realization that there is a proxy. So the RNG working in Classic's favor. He proxies right next to his opponent, and Percival still has not found that he's under any real danger. Economic build. Single gas opener, CC on low ground as well. It's all lining up here for Classic. It's lining up. Getting some deja vu from game number 1. Deja vu. Remember, it's going to be 2 Zealots into Stalker reinforcements, rallying into the natural, forcing a cancel, and ideally killing some SCVs. It's going to be on Percival. It's going to be on Percival to micro well, to wall up, to wall off, and to minimize SCV losses. Comes down to the unit control. Okay, there's that cancellation. Percival, he knows. Yeah, Percival does scouts. He does know. Very quick reaction. Bunker now begins. The wall is solid. And unlike game 1, we have a full wall at the ramp. We have our full wall off. Factory gets thrown down. Percival is holding. Now we can repair without having to worry about the Zealots. And this is so far a much cleaner reaction, a much cleaner defense from Percival compared to game 1. This is repair. Hull damage on the Zealots. Bunker is now done. CC being rebuilt on the high ground. And the game continues. From here, the game does continue. Classic's going to be expanding. And we can settle into a longer game. Whew. Again, just a stark reaction, but it's just the contrast between game 3 and game 1 here is night and day. It's without Percival, he's locked in. He's locked in. Walls off. See the chats. How does he know he's not top left? Is this position disabled? Yes. Yes. So specifically on the Old Sun Temple, this is only applicable to this map. You can only spawn on opposite sides. I say opposite sides. Basically, Classic knows that Percival, he's not top left, and Percival knows that Classic is not bottom right. Because you cannot spawn on the same vertical spawn. And that is unique to this map. So, yes, there are 4 spawn locations, but when you load into the game, there's only 2 options that your opponent can be at. That's why Classic proxied here on the right-hand side, not in the middle, because Classic knew that there were only 2 possible spawn locations. So that's the rationale behind this proxy location. And it's also why Percival did not scout bottom right, for example. Meanwhile, when yeah, after an aggressive start, we are going for the Dark Shrine. Let's go. Yeah, anytime Dark Shrine here for a Classic. At the same time, a little bit late to react. He will lose one. Yeah, the one Stalker does not get away. Do we get two? Oh, good. Yeah, 1, 2 Stalkers do fall. Massive catch here for Percival. Can he get all three? As Percival does attempt to chase him down. And Classic will get away. Ooh. Yeah, he does get away. Behind this, remember, we do have cross spawns here, so this does typically lead into longer and later games, where Classic is trying to be very aggressive to get a lead early on. DT production has begun. No Prism, but the proxy is found. It does find the proxy. Takes down the gateway. This will delay the Dark Templar as they're being made back at home. Yeah, there was only one gateway. Just the one. So very, very late. Meanwhile, from Percival, back at home, what do we have to work with here? So we're getting to a fast third CC, so third CC is already complete. We do have a 3-1-1 setup, late starport, so there's no Raven to work with here, but we do have some scans. We do have extra scans, triple orbitals. Scans, they can be available. DT moving on left-hand side. Gateway is being repowered. And we'll see what Classic can get done. And here they come. There's soon to be one scan in the main. Yeah, we just muled. So far, 41, 42 energy. Needs a little bit more time. There's going to be one scan available, but there's going to be 3 DTs. And Percival notices. Very quick reaction here. He does notice a shimmer. First tank is going to go down. There's one scan. Yeah, one scan at the natural. Yeah, one scan so far. We're about to have a second scan. We have 47 energy at the natural CC. And there's our second scan. And so far, Percival holds. Percival does hold. He does defend. DT gets owned away. And nothing critical here. Only 3 SCVs, 1 tank, and denied mining. Thankfully, because Percival has a third CC, he can make up for that. So not too bad. Classic trying to drop back in. Wants that Cyclone. Oh. Does get it. Does he? The Cyclone. Yeah, Cyclone does survive. And from here, the game will continue. So from here, we do see Classic getting up to 3-base saturation. Colossus is now underway. Building Colossus, Forger +1, Charge, Gateway composition here out of our Protoss player. Meanwhile, Percival likewise building up into the mid-game as well. As I mentioned before, because of the spawn locations, because they're so far apart from each other, the idea of going into like a 2-base aggression or 3-base aggression is very low. So we will embrace a longer and later game. This usually does favor the Protoss player. Like, the Protoss player can usually gain map control and mass expand, so there's a lot of pressure here on Percival to try to build up and fortify on 4 bases. We'll see if he can. Command center sweating over. It's like the full player brutal maps that SEL kind of use. Kind of. Sure. Kind of. That's waiting for the Colossus drop. Percival engaging ahead of time. The Colossus coming in for a flank. Does attempt to. Does attempt to. Percival pulling back. Securing his third. Now to 2 Colossus. Catching out the Marines. And big swipe here on the bio. Colossus, they move in. We should. Oh no! It does lift at the wrong Colossus. Yeah, pulls back. One Colossus getting very low here and should go down. I say that Zel's attacking well. More Zels warp in, and the Classic, does he have enough? Does his one. Down to 1 Colossus. Yeah, 1 Colossus remaining. Again, just running out of army. EMP lands. And Percival will hold. He does hold on. Does cost him 9 SCVs here, but so far a better trade for the Terran player. Catching a Colossus. Cleaning up the Gateway army. And Classic has to retreat. Yeah, pulls away back at home. Second Robo's on the way, building up into double Colossus production. Eventually, I would imagine into Disruptors. Shadow Stride on the way. Okay. Getting cheeky. Going into Shadow Stride. As Percival does kite back. Kites further back to the third base. At the same time, dropping across the map. Going for his mind drop. The Prism! Oh, one more volley! Massive pick of Warping gets denied. Takes down the Prism. Jump making his way towards the natural. We're getting messy though. Yeah, we're getting messy here. Some expensive losses there for Percival, losing Marauders. Mind drop into the natural. Ooh, the probes are lighting up. Yeah, they clump up here. 7 probes going down. Nice damage. Percival catching out 7 workers. And he survives back at home. Classic backs off. Does back off. Now, my big concern here for Percival is just the Colossus count. We're building up to a lot of Colossus. For example, here, catching out Marines, getting a Marauder. Vikings are still amassing up. Yeah, delayed Viking production out of Percival. It is risky. But they're slowly building up. My job does come back in. Catching a Stalker. Classic claiming a 5th base. It does claim the 5th. Gee, as he even just double expands. Yeah, here comes a little expansion. Classic claiming center left and also top at left as well. Going for Ninja Base. As I mentioned before, it's very common here on a map like this for the Protoss player to just mass expand, to just gain control of the map, mass expand as well. This is why I'm a little bit less I'm just concerned for Percival loading into this map and these spawn locations, just because Percival's stuck at home. Right, he's stuck at home, stuck on 4 bases. He's very spread out. He's very spread thin. Classic will soon max out, and then he comes out to push. Whether he moves in towards a 3rd or 4th base, it's going to be up to Percival to try to rotate and keep up with the army. It's easier said than done. As now Classic is up to 3 disruptors. Does move in, blinks forward, takes down the first tank. Never goes off. Ooh, massive connection. Catching a Marines. It does catch us on the bio. I believe we had attempted Prism harass in the main. As the prison's being rebuilt. And Percival, he's still working on perfecting his army. What does he need? Ghosts, Vikings, and Liberators. Fusion Core is on the way. That's going to be for Liberator range. So he's working on it. We have Mass DTs coming in. They have Blink. Oh, Mass EV. Very nice. And Percival does notice. Catching up the Zealous. Classic moving in with his main army. Nova doesn't land. Nova doesn't land here. Losing 1, losing 2 Colossus. Ooh, does overshoot with the Nova. Ah, that Nova had a lot of potential. Classic did overshoot, but a miscontrol here out of Classic. He's in trouble. Bleeding out a little bit too much. Now, what we mentioned earlier here is that Percival, he's working on perfecting his army. He's almost there. Like, again, Liberator production has now begun. And once he gets his Freedom Zones up and running here, then Classic will have a much harder time pushing into the Terran army. He's going to have a much harder time. And so far, this investment into the Czar Templar hasn't quite been worth it yet. Now, thankfully, they're still alive, but alas, hasn't quite able to gain much value. Percival now claiming a 5th. Army does rotate. Moving in. Ooh, Vikings, they take the Colossus. The Colossus goes down. That's CP on the Dark Templar. And she also Novas. Ooh, they do connect. Yeah, Novas are connecting. Vikings forced to land. And I believe Classic, he's going to be forced back. He's going to be forced back because else they do bust into the mineral line. They actually bust into the main. Yeah, massive warp in. 7 SCV kills going for the upgrades. Going for the armory. Yeah, armory goes down. CC should be denied. And Percival, he's having a hard time expanding. He just cannot get his 5th base. Zealous is still wreaking havoc in the main base. Extra warp-ins, CC's denied. And this is the big challenge here on Old Sun Temple. It's so difficult for the Terran to get a 5th. Insanely difficult. Whether it's in TVP or TVZ. Oof. Never lands. More warp-ins into the main base, more Zealots. Just wreaking havoc, delaying the production. Classic's moving in. Yeah, he's moving in, just tearing Percival apart. So blinks on 4, takes down 1, takes down 2 Liberators. Zealous busts into the mineral line. The main army's going to be zoned away. And this is out of hand. This is just getting out of hand with Snowbang out of control. 26 SCV kills. And Classic at this point has done it. Ooh, nice splits. Okay, nice splits towards the end. Never goes off. Raising the army, another Nova. Better connection. Yeah, much better connection here. And again, Classic, he just deals critical damage. 34 SCVs, denies the expansion, catching up more of the army, and even disrupting the upgrades. Upgrades were denied. Classic moving further in. Catching up more Marauders. On the Vikings, oh my god. And even kills the CC. Command Center goes down, we do blink in, and GG gets scored. GG gets scored. Classic snowballs out of control, and Classic, he will claim the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Classic, he will claim the series. Again, specifically on this map, it is so difficult to get a 5th base. The 5th base is so isolated, so exposed, because it's past a rock wall and a mineral wall, and you're spread so thin because your 4th base is on the opposite side. So getting a 5th base, we've seen many a Terran attempt and fail to get a 5th base on this map. And with that, Classic does overwhelm, does tear Percival apart. GG. GG, well played. With that, Classic will claim the series. But a shout out to Percival because, hey, he made a series out of it to win all the way to the ace match against Classic of all players. GG. GG, well played. Percival, he had his own good moments as well. Building up at a Ghost, going for his Wood Mine drops as well. But again, he was just outscaled. He just could not keep up with the trades, couldn't keep up with the economy of Classic. GG. GG, well played. With that, we are getting ready for the grand finals. Oh boy. With that, GG well played. It's going to be the grand finals here between Classic and SHIN, but before the grand finals, we're going to be going on a very quick break. Going to be going on a short break here. When we come back, we'll have that best of 5. We'll see you soon after the break. See you soon. Bye. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, do apologize for that. It's a brief break here, but we are getting ready for the grand finals of the Sparkling Tuna Cup. We're getting ready here for our ZVP between SHIN and Classic. Bearing in mind, it's going to be a best of 5 Classic. He just took down Percival in the semifinals. And now we have our grand finals getting ready for us. Un momento. Oh. Now, before the grand finals here, we do have something special, of course, and that is the raffle. It is Rifa time. True, it is time for the random raffle. Again, for those who are curious here, the raffle bit, as you can see, we do every single week have a random participation raffle for all of our players. All the players that competed tonight are eligible for the weekly raffle, and this week we have 20 players. Oh. We have 20 players. 20 players, they are eligible for this week's raffle. Bearing in mind that to be eligible, you have to have played in the tournament. And there is a player that did not play. Scrolling back, it is Iba. If you remember Iba, he did give a walkover win to Camo. So because that walkover, Iba is not able to be eligible for this week's random raffle, as he did not play his series, did not play his game, so a little bit unfortunate there, but outside of that, everyone else is equally eligible. You can go to a finalist like Classic, or you can go to a player that got knocked down in the first round, a player like Percival, or a player like Boreal, for example. So you can go to anyone. And this week, the random raffle winner is... Oh! Un momento. And also hashtag reading the chats. Always. Oh! And congratulations, this week the winner is Nickracked. Nickracked. Ay. GG, well played again, Nickracked. He did make it all the way to top 4 in this tournament. He did take down Nightmare in the quarterfinals, and also on top of his earnings in the semis, does walk away with 5 USD. GG, well played. Nickracked. Shout out to Homono coming in as a runner-up alongside Camo, Aragfire, Nurim, and Maxmore as well. Oh, here we go. So again, we do have our random raffle winner. It is going to be Nickracked, and again, we're getting ready for said grand finals. Just quickly going over the bracket itself. Oh, quickly going over it. Looks like it was not quite updated. There we go. Again, Classic took down Percival 2-1, took down Camo earlier in the tournament. SHIN, he took down Homeowner, took down Nickracked, and now we have a ZVP Grand Finals, SHIN versus Classic. Getting ready. Yes, rigged in the chat, baby. True. Thought SC2 only had 2 official expansions. Ah, I see what you did there. Ahí están. Bom dia, baby, bom dia. But yeah, so we're getting ready for the grand finals here. It is going to be SHIN versus Classic. I believe vetoes are currently underway. They're currently underway, so once they are done, we will have that final series here. Very quickly as well, when it comes to ZVP, when it comes to the current meta, the current matchup, we have been seeing some interesting developments as well. Obrigado. Yo, big shout out to Sinistro for helping us out. Seeing the finals. Beautiful. But we are going to be going on a short break here just because our players need some time to get ready. So we'll see you soon. We'll see you soon in a couple of moments here with the finals. See you soon. Oh. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the grand finals, those grand finales here of the Sparkling Tuna Cup number 138. We're here, we are back, we are live with our best of 5 and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of the Old Sun Temple. We're back already. We have the South Korean Zerg player, we have the blue Zerg representing onside. It is SHIN. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss himself representing Protoss Pro. It is a classic. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. It's Gamba time. Predictions in the chat are now open, so place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Will it go the way of the Protoss or the Zerg, Classic or SHIN? Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat. All that I want is a back and forth. A game 4, maybe even a game 5. Regardless of how this goes, I do want to sink our teeth into this series, but it's up to our players. Let's delve into it. Let's delve into it here. Welcome to the Old Sun Temple. The Old Sun Temple is a larger map of the map pool, longer rush distance by ground, especially based on these spawn locations. We do have diagonal spawns, so long rush distance, top left versus bottom right. We saw this dynamic in the Percival series earlier, where because of that longer rush distance, it meant that Percival couldn't be aggressive. It meant that he couldn't be aggressive, he was stuck at home defending, and Classic was able to engulf the entire map, take over the map, mass expand, and just out macro and just outmaneuver Percival. And Percival, he just could not get a 5th base. Now, in the ZVP matchup, it is a similar dynamic, except instead it is the Protoss player that's going to be stuck on a low base count, and it's going to be the Zerg player that can mass expand. So we'll see how Classic will approach this. On top of that, welcome to a PvZ. The PvZ matchup has been establishing itself in the meta as very old school, very 2020, 2021 vibes. Basically Sky Toss, a lot of Void Rays, a lot of Sky Toss has been all the craze in PvZ, which I would say is a negative thing, is a negative aspect. But we'll see how Classic does decide to play this out. Typically it's two things. It's one of two things. Either Classic goes for an all-in, or Classic goes into Sky Toss. It's usually one of the two. We have been seeing a lot of Protoss players be very aggressive in the mid game with charge lots, but that's usually to be hyper aggressive to get damage done. It's not really a way to get into a longer game state. It's usually for a timing attack, if not an all-in. So eyes are on Classic to see what he does go into in said PvZ. Meanwhile, back across the map, SHIN just going for his own hash gas pool into a 3rd base. So SHIN is droning, SHIN is saturating, so far is building up. SHIN also does confirm Classic spawn location, as the Overlord is going to be checking top left. Likewise, Classic also does find SHIN spawn as well. They do find each other. They do find each other. Again, speed is going to be on the way, pulling out of gas. Everything so far so good. Right now we're just waiting for the tech of choice, and oh, speaking of aggression and all-ins, it's going to be a Twilight Council opener. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on Classic here, but Twilight Council is being thrown down. We'll keep an eye on the gateways. First thing that comes to mind is Glaive Adepts, but usually if it's Glaives, we pull out of gas. Usually we pull 1 and 1 out of gas, leaving 2 and 4 in total. So we'll see if that's going to be the case here. Otherwise, we could go for something like an early charge-based all-in. We could even Blink feels a little bit weird here, but there's no other tech. Yeah, Glaives. Okay, Glaives are going to be on the way, but we are staying in gas. So this looks like a bigger commitment, but without a Robo, there's no War Prism. Without a Robo, without a Prism, that means we have extra money. That means Classic can expand. So this looks like a macro variation. Looks like a macro Glaive Adept build. Ideally with 3 gates. Usually it's 3 gateways, then you expand, then you hit with your Adepts, and you try to catch your opponent off guard. Yep, there's that 3rd gateway. So 3 gateways. Oh no, we're getting up to 4. So extra gateways here, building up to 4, followed by the expansion. Again, this is why this is a macro Glaive build. Now, there's some pros and cons to this. 1, you get the faster expansion, but 2, your Robo, your Stargate, a lot of your tech is going to be very, very delayed. If this fails to get damage done, it can be quite difficult to defend your 3rd base. So there's still a lot of pressure on Classic to trade well with the move out with the Glaive Adepts. A lot of pressure. We'll see if Classic can pull this off. Oh, Glaive Adepts into double Stargate into Mass Void Ray. Oh, I'm assuming this is Mass Void Ray. If we were casting Hero, I would be flirting with the idea of this being Mass Oracle. But because it's a classic, we're expecting Mass Void Ray. If you remember, how did we begin this series? We spoke about the meta. We spoke about how right now it's either All-In or Mass Void Ray Sky Toss. And we're seeing a combination here of hyper-aggressive Glaive Adept timing into the Void Ray follow-up. Now, what's really cool about this Void Ray follow-up is that the goal here is to be able to defend the Roach counterattack after the Adepts get shut down. And Roaches are amassing. SHIN is not droning. SHIN cutting workers early at 42, so SHIN's going for his own aggressive build. Lings, they move it across map to delay the expansion. Adepts are coming in though, and how much damage can we get done? Especially when Roaches are amassing here. Yeah, Lings delay the expansion. Adepts, they move in. No wall off, but we do have Roaches at the natural. And we'll see if we can keep up. Yeah, Adepts, they cancel. No, they commit. They commit into the main. Eva Chamber does fully wall off. Gets one drone so far. Yeah, gets one drone and SHIN, he has to pull away. He has to pull away those workers. Barely does pull away in time. Lings, they check for the linear third. Checks the other expansion. Depths, they shade into the natural. Drones are going down. So far, getting 3 drone kills is not good enough. Yeah, this is not good enough. And we're going Phoenixes? Not Void Ray? Ooh. I'm not too fond of this response. If you're watching RSL, Hero versus Solar, Hero did do a variation of this where he did go for a Mass Phoenix follow-up. I'll be honest, I wasn't fond of it then. I'm not fond of it here either. Void Rays are just a really secure way to clean up a Roach counterattack. Phoenixes, of course, are limited by their lifts. They are limited. They can lift up units and they're free to do so. That is true, but there's only so many units you can lift up with a Phoenix count like this. So I'm not convinced that this is going to be the ideal defense for Classic. We'll see if it can prove me wrong. Roaches have arrived. Phoenixes, they can lift up 4. So there's 1, 2, 3. We can only lift up 4 for 4 Roaches. That's it. There's 2. Second lift. There's 2 lifts left. And that's it. Like that's there's a 3rd lift. Walls being broken. Lings, they deny the expansion. And from here, SHIN, he can just flood into the natural. Yeah, he can flood on in. As we do focus down the 4th units, there's the NG overcharge. We can lift up 1 more, and the Phoenix is the dead supply. The reality here, that dead supply, what are they going to do? What are they? And this is where even Oracles would have been much better here to focus on all the Lings. Void Rays, of course, they have consistent DPS. Now we go into Oracles with Too Late. GG gets called, and SHIN takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, I could see the mythology here behind Classic going for Phoenixes, especially if there's no counterattack. But again, I really don't like it. We saw it from Hero over the weekend as well. I really don't like the Phoenix follow-up. As you saw, you run out of energy is the issue. You can lift up some units, you can get some free damage, then you run out of energy, and then what can you do? Then you're stuck with dead supply. And with that, SHIN does overwhelm, and SHIN takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, a very messy follow-up there from Classic after the Glaive Adepts. Now we're loading to game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. They were emotional support Phoenixes. They were doing emotional damage. That's what they were doing. They were... Hey. There was no support being had. As we're getting into game 2, going to be loading into Sanctuary 3, and we'll see how Classic will adjust coming into that second game. I will very quickly say though, because I don't want to say like, oh, like it makes no sense to go Phoenixes. I did mention that I can see the rationale behind it. Going to Phoenixes as a follow-up is, I would say, heavily reliant on SHIN not counterattacking. If SHIN stayed home and if he just tried to drone and saturate and macro, then Phoenixes would have done a great job at harassing mineral lines, denying overlords, scouting your opponent, and then building up into a 3-base economy. So specifically, if your opponent leaves you alone, then Phoenixes can work well, but against an all-in, that's when Phoenixes, they struggle defensively. So there is a situation where that could look better for Classic, of course, if SHIN was more passive. But here we go, spawning in the bottom-hand corner of Sanctuary 3, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing Onside, leading the series 1-0. It is SHIN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player. The red Protoss representing Protoss Pro, it is Classic. So, Let us go. This also goes into what happened during RSL, because Hero was able to make full use of Phoenixes getting into a longer game. There's a reason why it worked a little bit better in RSL and less so in that last game, just because Hero wasn't up against an all-in. Not in the same way. Otherwise, we're going to be opening up. Again, welcome to Sanctuary 3. We do have a ramp coming into the natural, so a much more secure 2-base setup here. And we'll see if Classic does go for a Stargate opener this time. I can't imagine it's going to go for the same build. Like, typically, in a series, especially as a Protoss player, you go for a Glaive Adepts once and only once. Like, it's difficult to really rely upon a build like that too often and too frequently in the series. You do ideally want to mix in your builds and mix up your openers throughout the course of the series. So it looks like we have our Pylon. This does look like more of a Stargate opener, like a Stargate Pylon. Meanwhile, we did see a Hatch gas pull into Hatchery. Very greedy build out of SHIN. Oh my god, okay. So a very fast third Hatchery. This will delay Queens. This does mean that I believe the second Queen is going to be delayed. Meanwhile, Classic going for a Forge. Is he going for a delayed Cannon Rush? He is not, but that is a very fast Forge here. So fast Forge, fast +1. This might be for a charge all-in. I'm thinking Twilight Council into charge into +1 to hit very, very quickly, very, very early on. Do you have a Safety Zealot on the way? But again, very fast upgrade. Yeah, there it is, fast +1. So it looks like this is going to be for a big all-in. It's going to be a big all-in with +1 hitting alongside. In my mind, it's going to be charged. Technically, we could see like a Robo into Immortal production, but nah, I feel like that'd be a little bit too late. We'll keep an eye on Classic. No, yeah, it's gonna be the Robo. Okay, we're going for the Robo. Are we going for vanilla gateway units without a Twilight Council? Because I feel like if we were going to be hitting with Charge or Blink or any kind of upgrade for the Gateway Army, this would be a Twilight Council, not a Robo. In my mind. Are we going for a Slow Lord all-in? True, we're going old school. No, we're still going for the Council. This isn't lined up. That's... Are we gonna go for? Are we going for? Okay. If the council is this late, are we gonna go council straight into Templar Archives, straight into Archons, and no charge? Because otherwise, this upgrade is gonna hit so late here. In comparison to +1, which has been chronoed, by the way. Let him cook, Pappy. Let him cook. So we're expecting a Templar Archives here. Because I believe the Temple Archive, the Glaives? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, Pappy. Okay, sure. Let him play, Pappy. Let him play. Let him cook. Glaives? Okay. I mean, +1 was recently, the upgrades were recently buffed for the Adepts. True, they were buffed. It is a 2-base all-in. It is a Soul Train. We got +2 on the way. I mean, +2 on Glaives, that is more lined up, I suppose. I'm assuming we're going to be spending our Chrono Boost on +2. I feel like Classic is freestyling right now. Like this, like, I feel like we're just trying to see, we're just vibing. We just be vibing right now. Oh no. Classic, he's going to be harassing, hunting down Novalord. When it comes to SHIN's play, remember he was very greedy, so he's already up to 2.5 base, or 2-base saturation, building up Safety Roaches, building up Links as well. Looking at SHIN's vision... God damn it. SHIN, I believe he just saw the Immortals. I'm not entirely certain if he had poked up the ramp. But it is going to be a Soul Trainer School in with Adept support. So Adepts are going to be warping, and Adepts, they trade well against Lings, of course, and the Immortals will trade well against Roaches. So the army does make sense. It's just it's like a PvP build. +2 is gonna kick in. Yeah, it's hitting with +2. It's not the cleanest build, but it's coming together. We will need Ravagers. We need a bunch of Ravagers. Shin also cut Workers too soon. The reality is, because it's hitting so late, like again, this is just a really awkward build. Because it's hitting so late, Shin could have drawn up to 3 base saturation much sooner. So, bit of a shaky start here from Shin as well. It's shaky. Later saturation, smaller army as a result, weaker mid game, and Classic is not pushing. +2 is done. We're starting +3. What are we just defending? What? Okay. He does get 1, 2, 3 Ravagers. Better engaged here. Jesus, every single Ravager getting called out. Almost every single one. Shin cannot fight. Yeah, he cannot fight. Not like this. Not with pure Ling. Yeah, Shin, he fumbles the engagement. Losing all the Ravagers. Now he starts droning. Classic is in a better position. Now, I do want to quickly add a caveat to this. Classic, he's in a good position, but a big reason for this is because Shin, he didn't know what the hell was going on. Like Shin, he was also looking very confused, and he didn't know to drone, not to drone. Is it all in? Is it not all in? We didn't even know what the hell was going on. We like whether it was going to hit with +2 or not. So Shin has been very uneasy and has been stumbling into the mid game here, and this means that Classic's in a good position. It's not looking bad. Again, 4th base is delayed for Shin. Classic securing his 3rd. Shin is still trying to drone, still trying to saturate. Again, this droning is very delayed. Shin taking the northern base. Now, I will say that I do prefer Classic's current position. That is currently true, but that will change if Shin is able to max out. If Shin maxes, I don't really see Classic defending here. It's going to be close. Like, this army from Classic doesn't scale well into a longer game. Like, this is a very mid-tier army and can look really good right now, but again, as we approach maxing out, as we start to tech up and tech out into like Hydras, into Lurker Tech, for example, that's where Classic can look a little bit more outclassed. As it stands, though, this is a very beefy army. Very beefy. Classic is pushing. Shin, again, he is not able to keep up. Again, his joining was just so late. His expansions are so late as well. It's an all-in. Yeah, no probes. No probes. Basically, it's a heavily delayed 2-base all-in. With +3. It's a 2-base all-in with +3, baby. That's insane. This 3rd base doesn't matter. Like, Classic does not care. He does not care. It's all or nothing. The all-in has arrived. Shows the force fields. We need a bile. The boss being thrown down. The Banelings, can they get in? Oh, ooh, barely not. Yeah, Banelings do not connect. Shin has to back off. He has to back off. He has to take this slow. But the army's already here. It's already here. Heavy losses for Shin. And Classic has done it. Yeah, Classic, he has done it. He locks down the workers, locks down the drones. And they do overwhelm. Catching out the Ling Bane. Again, the force fields have been brutal. Yeah, the force fields, they just zone back the army. We are running out of force fields, though. Uh-oh. Yeah, Classic, he's running out of sentries, running out of depth, so here come the reinforcements. GG gets called, and Classic does overwhelm. We're tied up 1-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Classic, he will claim the game. He does tie up the series here. Again, a very quirky build here by Classic, and you could see that because of Shin's uneasiness, he had a very inefficient response. Very inefficient. Late drones, late saturation, late 4th base. Shin was outscaled. He was outscaled because Shin was expecting, and I don't blame him, but Shin was expecting an earlier push. He was waiting for an earlier push. It never came. It never came, so we got outscaled. We saw that as a result, Classic was able to build up a robust 2-base army, build up into +3. It's a +3 attack with the Adepts as well, with, of course, the recent changes. And in the end, was able to catch Shin with his pants down. That's the best way of putting it. The pants were down. They were down. GG. GG, well played. Again, a very quirky build here by Classic, worked out well. I will say that this build is heavily reliant on being new. It's a very new build, it's very fresh, which is really cool, but it's relying on your opponent not really knowing what's going on and overreacting and over-responding early on as well. So just bear that in mind. Bear that in mind, that I don't see this kind of surviving the next couple of weeks. I expect this to be maybe even quite prevalent over the next like week of play, but after that, that's when players get accustomed to something like this. But it was really cool to see nonetheless. Really cool to see. Very fresh, Bappy, very fresh. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Fear and Faith, we have the blue Zerg player. The blue Zerg player representing onside, being forced into a tied series. It is SHIN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player, the South Green Protoss. Representing Protoss Pro, it is Classic. Let's go. Let us go. Classic using the Classic trick. If I don't know what I'm doing, then how is my opponent going to have a clue either? Kind of like I want to say that that build was planned from Classic, but it's just a very unstable, a very awkward build, and because of its awkwardness, like again, SHIN was having a really hard time reacting, a really hard time responding, which I did appreciate, which I did like. But as I mentioned, like I don't see that specific build having too much longevity or having too much viability as time progresses, just because like once players recognize some of the tells of what this build is, then we should be seeing more drones and a greedier response. And if we get a greedier response, then it's going to be a stronger shutdown as the 2-base all-in comes across the map. So it is important to bear that in mind. But it was really cool nonetheless. And it's also very fresh just because there's a lot of new changes that impact how this build plays out. One is, for those that are unaware, in the hotfix patch, the Adept now benefits more from upgrades. So these upgrades did impact the Adepts even more. But on top of that, it's also the force field change. For those that don't recall, remember, force fields, they now no longer get destroyed by biles. Now their time gets reduced by biles instead. So biles don't instantly kill force fields, they still maintain themselves. So that also came into play as well. So there are a lot of new factors when it comes to the patches and the updates that impacted that build coming together. And of course, the fact that SHIN had no idea what was going on. So it was really cool. It was really cool. I guess because of that, it feels like a lot of effort was put into piecing all that together. For now we're going to be opening up. We do have our standard open out of SHIN, and once again, welcome to Fear and Faith cross spawns. Okay, so long rush distance by ground. This typically does favor Zerg. It does mean that SHIN is going to be safer here against early game aggression, which means there's a higher chance that Classic does go into Sky Toss. Higher chance. As Classic does go for the Stargate, so Stargate open out of Classic. We can open Oracle or Void Ray, but we're expecting, say, a fast second Stargate. So we'll see if Classic does meet those expectations of embracing Sky Toss. We'll see. Classic does threaten the shade. It does threaten the shade across the map. Getting on top of the high ground. Oh, that does come into the main. Gets one, gets two. And two drones going to be going down. Not a bad trade here for Classic. Behind this does go for the Oracle. And looking to harass across the map. So no Void Rays yet, no Sky Toss yet either. Classic claiming a third base. Now from this third expansion, we're looking to see what does Classic go for. Twilight Council or Stargate, and the timing of that Twilight Council as well. So looking for the timing of the tech. SHIN moves out across the map. So far, decent catch on the Adept. Adept gets called out, so the Lings, they are going to be zoned away. Second Oracle is coming. And you can see SHIN trying to get a scout off as well. Does get eyes on the pylon, and it is going to be the Forge and the Twilight Council. I'm assuming this will be +1 in charge. Personally, getting into a longer game and getting into mid to late game, it would make more sense to go into Blink Stalkers. But Classic has been very aggressive this series. It's been very aggressive, very in the face of SHIN. We expect that trend to continue here as well. As SHIN does confirm the follow-up. It does confirm. SHIN, so he knows to drone. He knows he can just drone, saturate, get a 4th base up and running as well, and build up his economy. Meanwhile, there it is, +1 in charge. As I mentioned, +1 in Blink is better to try to get into like a macro game, but that's not really viable anymore in ZVP, so going for these more aggressive charge timings is more the go-to. We'll see how committed Classic is going to be, whether we go into a Temple Archives and Archons and Storm, or whether we go for a purely more heavy gateway composition into Stargates. There it is. Fleet Beacon, Stargate play. Okay. So we're going for the Fleet Beacon. We're going into the early Mothership. Now, we don't see a second Stargate yet. This might just be for a Mothership just to support the army. And the Mothership is a very powerful supportive unit. So we haven't taken to the skies completely yet. Yep. So it's going to be Mothership to support and the Temple Archives for the Storm and for the Archons. Now, I will say that it is going to be difficult for Classic to really be active and make use of the Zealots on a map like this because of the spawn locations. It's a very large map, long rushes by ground. It is going to be difficult here for Classic. Especially with the now all the tech being thrown down. The Hidden Spire. Do we need to hide the Spire, really? Do we? So Ninja Spire here for SHIN. Throws down the Roach Horn and Hydrogen back at home. Station Trap catching out 2 drones. Nothing crazy yet. The Oracles, they don't even scout the tech, by the way. See what's going on. +1 range has begun. Mothership is coming. Let's catch a Zealot. Does confirm charge, of course. Charge, not blink. Building on my roaches just to be safe. And the Spire is just now finishing. And with the Spire finishing, we're going to mass at Muta. Again, the anti-air for Classic is very limited. Why is that? Because he did not go blink. Blink is going to be researched after the fact. So, limited anti-air. Oh no! Lings take collapse on the High Templar. Gets 1! And 1 Templar goes down. Massive pickoff. A huge catch here out of SHIN. Mutas are on the way. There's going to be 6, I believe? 8. My apologies. So, 8 mutas. And moving on the south side at the same time, the Oracles, they likewise do move in. Going for the stasis. Oh. Yeah, the stasis goes off. Catching some queens. Mutas, they do get across the map. Ling's looking for another High Templar. Cloak is activated, and Mutas, they get into the mineral line. They bust in. They bust in. Thankfully, there's a safety cannon. Ooh, recall to the main. Classic trying to hold on. But still bleeds out probes. Yeah, probes are still going down. Losing 7 workers. Oh! Almost catching the Oracle as well. Now what's important here is that SHIN is not going mass muta. He kills 7 workers, and behind this, SHIN is going into a more Hydra-based army. I'm curious to see how this pans out. A lot of this comes down to the storms, right? There's still 3 Eye Templar, there's still storms available. We have more Templar on the way. There's going to be a lot of storms. Can Classic hold? Can he defend? Can he survive? Shin does move in. Hydras, they have arrived. We do get that slow zone and the storm as well. Oof. Yeah, Master Storms. We just tanked the storms. Oh no! Yeah, he's tanking the storms. Yeah, Hydras are going down. The storms, they connect. Muses, they go for the dive. And Classic holds. Yeah, Classic, he just shuts down the army completely. Again, Shin, he took every storm to the face. And Shin is struggling. Shin is being forced back. Classic holds. Building on more High Templar, more Storm, and meanwhile the Hive just now starting here for Shin. Just now trying to transition out of this into Vipers, into potentially even Lurker Tech as well. But Shin is in trouble. As Classic is building up a greater army. More Templar, more Storm, +3 is now on the way. I would say that this would be the time for... Would this be the time for like a second and third Stargate just to get ready for it? There it is. I was going to say Tempest production. Tempest has begun. Second Stargate's on the way. But this is the time. Like, a Classic is secure. He's secure, he's ahead. Building up into Skytos. And Shin is late to take up into Hive. So everything is now coming up Classic. The one thing that's going to be difficult for Classic, though, is getting a 5th base. Getting a 5th expansion. Lings, they move in. Nice denial. Classic pushing onto creep on top of the Tuna. Oh no! Leave the Tuna alone. Oh, this is getting out of hand. Oh my god, 12? 14 probe kills. Very nice run by. Yeah, Shinny does deal critical damage across the map. That should not have happened. Insane damage. Do we have any warp gates? No. That explains it. No defensive warp ins. No defensive warpins. Classic rotates over. Nice storm. Oof. Storm catching up more lings. Grazing the Hydras. Oof, Shin pushing through the storm. Oh god, he does take the storm to the face once again. The storms. Does get the mothership. Mothership goes down. Prism as well. But again, some messy fights here for Shin. And he's switching non to Lurker Tech into Ultras. So Ultra's going to be on the way. 7 Infestors as well. Getting ready for Microbo Shouts for Fungals. Classic is making that transition into Skytos, building a more Tempest. Well, it's just being rebuilt. And Shin, despite having the faster Spire, he's only just now getting +1 Flyer attack. The upgrades aren't quite ready for the Corruptors. So the upgrades are lacking. Shin trying to be active, checking for other expansions. Speaking of 5th base, looks like Classic is expanding on the left-hand side. Setting up for the 5th. Yeah, Shin, sorry, Classic catching all these Hydras at the same time as Shin will delay the 5th. Delays the 5th base. So does Classic. No one can expand. Again, the 5th expansion, whether it's this northern 5th base or the southern 5th base, it is very isolated. Very spread out. Lings, they do catch out 3 Templar. Very nice. 2 of them morph into the Archon. 1 is killed. So 3 Templar go down. Carrier production has begun. I don't see Corruptors. And no Corruptors yet. Shin does bypass the main army. And where are the storms? Okay, let's go back. First storm does zone. Fungal lands. Oh, going for the feedback. Lands a massive storm. Oh my god, the storms are crazy. Yeah, lands the storms once again. Lings, they once again ensure there is no base. No expansion. And we can see Classic back off. Yeah, backs off. He just wants to expand. He just wants his base. He wants the 5th back. Archon gets sniped. Now, my concern here is that Shin just saw the army. He just saw the Tempest. He's confirmed all the Tempest. We still have not begun Corruptor production. It's still very much so a ground-focused army. At the moment, SHIN is focusing on taking up into Ultras and getting Ultra upgrades. Makes sense. I mean, that can be good against High Templar, but again, there's still no good answer for the Tempest and for the oncoming carriers. The carriers are here. The carriers have arrived. SHIN once again rotates over. This time the Oracles are in position. At the same time, SHIN pushing on the right-hand side. And do we just push? What's the plan? Classic response. And response to the Hydras. Now, this is important because if SHIN bleeds out these Hydras, it's okay. He's going to have time to build up Corruptors. He will have time. Like I said, you run into the Oracles once again, but they will get the expansion. Classic's moving in. Hydras are trying to respond. I guess Microbial Shroud can be okay. Maybe, but this Storm. Like, yeah, this is the Storm. There's the first Microbial Shroud. Massive storms on the Hydras. Once again, sending them away. The Shroud does nothing. Not against the storms. Ooh, there's another one lands. And the base will fall. The base will fall. At the same time, Lings, they deny the 5th. Hydras, they cannot move in. Still run back here on the top side, going for another expansion. The once again, the storms, they zone back the Hydras. Class is just having his way with this army. Here come the Neurals. Let's go. Yo, the mass Neural and all the Sky Toss. True. This is how you deal with Sky Toss, not with Corruptors. You just turn them into the Zerg. You infest them, Bappy. Yeah, much better fight here towards the end. Again, the mass Neural does pay off, and with that, SHIN will lose 2 bases. He does lose 2 expansions, but SHIN does retain all the Infestors. That's what's important here, is that the Infestors survived. They survived the fight. They can go for another engagement. And Classic still cannot get a 5th. It's almost impossible to get a 5th base on this map as a Protoss player. Zerg players have map control, so SHIN should be able to eventually saturate top right and take center right as well. But the idea of Classic ever taking another expansion, it's so difficult to achieve. If you remember, we said the same thing about Terran players on the old Sun Temple. In Percival's game versus Classic in the previous series. Did mention the same thing. Meanwhile, SHIN has got 5 more Infestors on the way. And again, looking at this now under the perspective of like mass Infestor, just mass neuraling everything, it's like, okay, like SHIN, he can do this. He can do this. Only with Infestors though. Be careful. It goes to infest the Sky Toss. Ah. SHIN, he'll soon max out. I mean, again, he's got how many? 10? 13 Infestors. Ah. It's a lot of Infestors back. All we're going to do, catch a part of the mineral line. 5 more drones going down. Changelings fanning out. We keep tabs on the main army. SHIN is being activated. Second Spire is on the way. Oh, first one was killed. Oh, okay, true. First Spire did go down, actually. That's a late backup Spire here for SHIN. A late realization, myself included. Here come the Neurals. Ooh. Gets High Templar. Yeah, does try to feedback. Massive storms on the Hydra. Oh, kill. The storms are still crazy, by the way. Still some brutal storms. The Infestors, they cannot get in. Yeah, Infestors are a little bit too far back. They're trying to neural the carriers. They come in and mass neural. Yeah, they mass neural here. With that carriers, they belong to the Zerg, Bappy. The Zerg capital ships. Takes over the army, takes down the 5th base. Again, Classic cannot expand. And with that, the carriers, they kill themselves. They kill themselves. Takes down bottom left. Deny more bases, and with that, SHIN, he will take a lead. He'll take a lead in the series. The Infestors, they do it all themselves, baby. Yeah, the MVPs of this game still waddling in. Wait for Microbial. Zoning back the High Templar. Oh, this is the new attack. Ah, they're nibbling away at the Nexus. Let's go. They can even attack now. It's crazy. Kappa. For those who are curious, it's the same as the High Templar auto attack, where they very slowly kill things. Yeah, with that, again, Classic is broken. Classic is broken. You can see he's desperately warping in a couple of zelts to the main. Mothership is denied. Denies the Mothership. Warping in the High Templar here. The copium is real, papi. We be coping. As we're working with 3 Templar and 1 Immortal. And there's the NG overcharge. Classic is controlling here, by the way. He's locked in. Merely a flesh wound. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I mean, still has a ninja base, true. Has an expansion. We just need to saturate. Swords of Hydras. Cashing them out. But here comes the second wave. Here comes the main army. Now going for the final mining base here of Classic. Oh no, sorry. Not too certain where we're going. No, he finds the base. Okay, finds energy expansion. SHIN will shut it down. We just saw a recall. Yeah, we just saw the recall. Oof. Yeah, with that SHIN, he steps in, takes down the expansion. There is no ninja base here, so again, Classic down to half a base mining. Only 4 patches. Only 4. Eventually, we're just going to chase down the final zealots. I mean, again, Classic was playing this out really well, like surprisingly well, but winding it back here, just emphasizing some of the struggles that Classic had in this game that led to this kind of game state. 5th base, right? It took him so long to the point where he never really got his 5th base up and running, so he had a very hard time maintaining his army, building up, and having any kind of reinforcements either. The economy was very, very limited here for Classic. As now she does lunge in. Catching out the Immortals, the Archons, the High Templar. GG gets called, and SHIN, he'll take a 2-1 lead in the series. GG. Whew. GG, well played. With that, SHIN, he does claim a 2-1 lead. Bearing in mind, this is the best of 5, so SHIN, he's on match points. Classic has to fight back here and now to have a chance to redeem himself, of course, and to force the ace match. Let's go. The pressure is on Classic. As we are going to be jumping into At Attorney's Edge. Let's go. We're getting into game 4 here, and again, the pressure is on Classic. Can he recover? Can he bounce back and force the ace match, or does it all end here and now? Let's go. Let's go. We are loading in. We're going to be loading in. We're going to be popping up. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of At Attorney's Edge, we have the blue Zerg player. The blue Zerg player, we have the South Korean Zerg leading the series 2-1 in this best of 5 grand finals for the Sparkling Tuna Cup. It is SHIN. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Protoss Pro. It is a Classic. Let's go. Let's go. And very quickly, before we even get close to concluding the series, I do very quickly want to also say something I'm very bad at when it comes to Tuna Cup. If you want to help support the tournament, you can do so via the Patreon. Again, the Sparkling Tuna Cup is the longest running open cup out there, longer running than the Water TV Mondays or the KSLs or the Pigster Cups or any of the other open cups out there. Again, we've been running for many years, of course, and it is all funded via the Patreon. So thank you so much to all of our current patrons for supporting the event, for funding the tournament, and for helping us grow the event as well. Again, we do have a bunch of stretch goals on the Patreon for greater and boosted prize pools, so you can help us reach those goals via the Patreon. On top of that, once we reach a certain threshold, we can also then have monthly finals. If you remember, last year, for the month of September, October, November, December, for those 4 months, we did have monthly finals. Basically, it was 3 weeklies, and then a monthly finals at the end of each of those 4 months. So we might be able to get back to that, again, depending on, of course, support on Patreon. Otherwise, we'll still have our weekly tournaments, as always. But again, thank you so much to all of our patrons. Likewise, if you want to support this specific tournament, you can do so via Matcherino. Exclamation mark Matcherino in the chat. Our Matcherino page does fund each specific weekly. There's a specific page for each weekly tournament. So you can help support the, you can help boost the prize pool of the specific weekly if you wish, or just the Patreon, which does help the series as a whole. Otherwise, we're going to be loading into game number 4 here. Again, SHIN is up 2-1 in this series, going for a standard hatch gas pool, standard opener out of SHIN. Meanwhile, Classic going for a standard opener as well, going for a gate expand. Now, welcome to Outer Train's Edge. Finally, we can take a break from these 4-player spawn maps and we can calm things down a little bit here. It's still a bit of a larger map. We'll see if Classic does go for something quirky again. Like it's all been like quirkier builds out of Classic. That's kind of what Protoss has to do in the current meta. Looking like a Stargate opener. We'll see if we open Void Ray or Oracle. But looking Stargate. Here we go. From here, it is going to be the initial, Stargate opener, as we did mention. Again, we're waiting to see if it's going to be the Oracle or a Void Ray opener to hunt down Overlords and Vision, or to harass across the map. This then leads into the third base, and then we'll be looking for the Twilight Council timing to see how Classic decides to play this out. Jesus. Yeah, SHIN does pull away. From here, the Overlord is going to be zoned away. We do have a Classic building up, gives us an Oracle-based opener to harass across the map and claim a third. So everything so far is looking standard. So far, standard play here by Classic, just building up to 3 bases. As we emphasize, we're mainly looking to see the timing of the Twilight Council to have a better idea as to how aggressive or how macro-oriented Classic wants to be. She's droning, saturating, and so far just getting to a very tame and chill early game. I spoke too soon. That is an early council. Okay, so Twilight Council in a Forge. This is earlier compared to last game. Bit of an earlier timing. Lings, they do flood in. Yeah, Lings, they bust into the natural, they bust into the main base, and SHIN gets a full scout of everything. It gets a full scout. This does look like +1 in charge. Looks like another charge-based opener. Last game, this led into a fast fleet beacon into a mothership to support. But we're expecting zealots here. And charge is on the way. Getting to zealot legs. Early Eva Chamber out of SHIN. I say early, it's Eva Chamber first, but not that early on. This might still be for +1 range. Oracles poke in. Glare has begun. And so far, nice damage getting a queen. Oh my god. A queen goes down, a couple of drone kills as well. Nice damage here by Classic. Catching a 1, 2 workers and a queen. We do have our gateway explosion back at home, building up to additional gateways and into the fleet beacon. So we have confirmation this is a very similar build to game number 4. Sorry, to game number 3. So last game, previously on Fear and Faith, it was the same thing. +1 in charge, into fleet beacon, into a singular mothership, and then into storm. Then into storm. So again, looking quite similar. This eventually led into the late game into Skytoss, but that was off of a 4-base economy. So there's the Temple Archives in the Storm. Same build, more or less. I say more or less because, again, this was still like an earlier Council and an earlier Forge, but only by a couple of seconds. Meanwhile, it was +1 range, as we anticipated, just because it was a later Evo Chamber into Ling Hydra. I did think that the Muta play from SHIN wasn't really worth it last game. It was a little bit lackluster, so I do appreciate that SHIN is building up into Ling Hydra here. And SHIN, he's getting a 4th base, but do you see what I see? No drones. Yeah, no drones at the 4th base. We're just massing up pure Ling Hydra. Likewise, I believe a Bailey Nest did complete. No, sorry, no Bailey Nest, so just pure Ling Hydra. No drones, no saturation. Very committed. Very, very committed here by SHIN. We're setting up what looks to be a 3-base all-in. Catching out the Zealots. They do manage to try to get away here. Nah, never mind. They get caught out. Yeah, Classic throwing away a lot of supply here, and he's going to trigger a counterattack. And defensively, what do we have to defend? What's back at home? Nothing. There's going to be nothing. We're going to have 2 High Templar. Storm only just now begins. The Classic's in trouble. Classic, he's in so much trouble here. The Mothership is going to be a big part of the defense. We have to buy time for Storm, because SHIN is coming. Ooh, is SHIN gonna wait for its speed? Is he gonna wait or is he gonna go now? Time is of the essence. We gotta go. We gotta commit. Again, Storm is not ready. Here comes the 3-base all-in. Classic is exposed. And the Mothership is now popping out. Yeah, Mothership does pop. Cloak is available. No detection. Lings try to collapse in. Hydra's getting into the Mothership. The Mothership! Oh my god, Mothership goes down. Massive pickup. High Templar gets sniped. And oh, there's still 2 Templar left. Storm is about to finish up in 2 seconds. Storm is barely going to be available. But SHIN might just have too much. Yeah, might have too much here. There's the first Storm. We have 1 more Storm coming in. Oh, the Storms are decent, but there's nothing else. There's nothing else here with that. SHIN, he snowballs out of control. He breaks Classic. The 3-base all-in does overwhelm. GG gets called, and SHIN, he will claim the series 3-1, becoming this week's Sparkling Tuna Cup champion. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations here, SHIN. He will claim the series. He will claim the series. He will be our champion here. Again, my condolences to Classic. He did fight hard. He did fight well. We did see a very quirky and unique build in game number 2. Do you remember? Classic went for a crazy 2-base all-in with Glaive Adepts and +3 attack. Really fast forge and a +3 attack. A really unique and quirky build there by Classic. Then here in game number 3 and 4, we saw some attempted macro play. This is kind of the new variation of it, where we're seeing heavy charge into Storm into Skytoss. But as you saw, Classic was being overly aggressive this game with his Zealots. He threw away so many Zealots that meant he had a weaker defense against the all-in. As again, SHIN was not droning. He was not droning up his 4th base. No drones, no saturation, pure 3-base all-in. And Classic, after losing all that supply, he had that much less to defend. And he could not defend, not with that kind of army, not with that production, not after losing all those Zealots. GG. GG well played. So Classic punished for his aggression. And with that, SHIN does snowball out of control, does claim the series, is going to be said champion. He's going to be a champion this week. But again, shout out to Classic for competing, of course. When it comes to the ZVP meta, still of the same opinion here, where it's either you all in or you try to go into Skytoss. This style from Classic they just showcased these last 2 games is a unique way to try to build up into a macro game. But I mean, as we can see here, there are definitely some holes in this build or things that can be abused. It was a bit of a shame that we tried to do this build specifically on Fear and Faith, because again, Classy just could not maintain a 5th base despite the mutas not really getting much damage done. Here on At Attorney's Edge, if we had been a little bit more defensive, then maybe we could build up and defend on 3 bases and get a 4th base if we're hyper defensive, but it doesn't feel good to just be contained back at home. It's still very difficult, borderline. No, yeah, it's still very, very difficult to try to play macro and PvZ right now. It's either just all in or rushing into Sky Toss. And again, even here has been having a hard time as well. But we'll see. We'll see. We're all expecting another hotfix, so we're expecting a hotfix number C, or letter C, I guess. I'm expecting it next week at least, probably next week. But we'll see. We'll see what comes in the hotfix, and we'll see what changes get made to the current iteration of the game once again. You'll see. But otherwise, with that, we're going to be wrapping up here for the time being. So thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. We do appreciate it. We're going to be heading off here for the time being. When it comes to the rest of our schedule, bam, as you can see here, we had Nickrat, of course, winning the random raffle. True. Nickrat did win our random raffle. Shin, of course, claiming the win in our tournament. We have the rest of our schedule. We just wrapped up with our Tuesday evening broadcast of Sparkling Tuna Cup. And tomorrow morning, we're going to be live with Pegasus Cup. Pegasus Cup is tomorrow morning. We have the Pondcast tomorrow evening. We have Kung Fu Cup Thursday evening, the Crank Gathers event, and RSL. A lot of content, a lot of StarCraft throughout the course of the week. As always, on the CranKy Ducklings. All the content, all the StarCraft. So our next broadcast is going to be in around 11 hours. In 11 hours time, we're going to be live with Pegasus Cup. Otherwise, in less than 24 hours, we'll have the Pondcast where we discuss all things StarCraft. I don't know if there's, outside of tournament results, I don't know if there's really much to discuss this week. Double checking here. Yeah, outside of tournament results, I don't think we've had any interviews. We already covered the hotfix patch, but I'm sure we'll find. Yeah, it's mainly events, mainly tournaments here they're going to be discussing. So a lot to catch up on here tomorrow. We'll be able to discuss the patch a little bit more in depth as well, as now we have had a lot more experience on the new hotfix. So we'll discuss tomorrow. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the support. If you want to support us further, you can do so via following us on all the socials. Remember, if you see something that you like here, and if you cannot watch it live, YouTube is the place to be. youtube.com/CranKyDucklings. We do upload on a daily basis. We stream on a daily basis. There's a lot of content over on YouTube. Otherwise, you can also follow us on the socials, join our Discord, and you can also support us on Patreon. Our Patreon does fund this weekly Open Cup on a regular weekly basis. So again, you can help support the players, support the scene via said Patreon. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the Pegasus Cup or for the Pondcast. See you then. See you tomorrow. Until then, ciao, baby, ciao. Hasta luego. Hasta luego.